educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello to my loneliness. I guess that ignorance is bliss. Take me back to before the new. Rewind, take it out of cue. Innocence can be a young man's game. Signed up for the hall of shame. I wish I knew how much I miss not knowing that we're all screwed when we play our roles and ignore the problems. I like to be way more patient. Stay up, I feel so outdated. How can we look the other way? Sun is out, but the sky is gray. What would happen if I took a chance? It's always hard at first glance. I don't wanna, but I know I gotta do it. The truth is hard to swallow. I think I'll chew it. I wish I knew how much I miss not knowing that we're all screwed when we play our roles and ignore the problems. I wish I knew how much I miss not knowing that we're all screwed when we play our roles and ignore the problems. I wish I knew.
And we are live. Hi, Tim Bart's here and Sarah Davis, live with you here on our live stream. Got the cameras over there. So thank you for everybody joining us tonight. Pretty good group so far. I didn't actually promote this on any social media this week. Forgot to do that.
Fail.
Got busy. I was like, man, we're all ready to go. What am I forgetting? That's what I forgot. So we'll just see how the numbers look. Don't forget to, you guys can share it out if you want to on there, especially if you're on the All Things Maverick Facebook groups. That seems to work, or Maverick Truck Club. If you want to send it out for me, I'd appreciate it. And thank you for that. Okay, don't forget too, we are recording this as a podcast. So those of you that want to, you can listen to this on the podcast, all kinds of different podcasting channels. I believe I have about 15 of them set up. And so you can watch it on your favorite podcasting streaming platform. Just look for FordVideoGuy, with or without the spaces. Some of them are with, some are without. I can't remember which are which. But so you can check it out there. And if you are listening to this on the podcast, come on over and join us live on YouTube. So you can at 7 p.m. Central Time. The link to the actual video is in the description on the podcast description as well. You can check out all the links that I talk about and everything are in the description for the podcast, as well as here on the video on YouTube. So really try to make sure I source everything I talk about. If I find articles or something, I always make sure I source them down below. So don't forget also, if you are new, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. You can stay notified for videos that we're going to talk about here later that I are going to be doing this week, as well as don't forget to smash the like button. So appreciate it. Like button is free. And unlike the membership, so Sarah, you want to talk about, and let's talk about the membership, and why don't you give a shout out to the members first, and then we'll talk about the membership.
Looks like we have Jack Evans and Marine Vet, Deke Marshall, Patricia Ward, Mark. I'm guessing your last name is Sue. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but we see you in here a lot. Paul, and of course Ridgeview's in here with us. So Ridgeview is our moderator.
Vols.
Oh, McArthur, you've been a member for a
1
year.
year. So 1 year shout out. There you go.
I will shout out for Law McArthur as well. Our Law McArthur account hit 1 year as a member.
Yes. So at some point was like, we can't. I want to be able to tell when we are doing that. So I became a member 1 year ago as well. Law McArthur did. So Mike, you're right with us there. Actually, I think you beat us just by a day or two. So anyway, Ridgeview and them have been members long. We have a bunch that have been over.
I think Ridgeview's at like 14 months.
14 months.
I just updated the list today.
Very cool. Cool. All right. Of course, you can be a member as well and get the nice, all the names in the nice colors there with the little logos beside it that dictate how long you've been a member if you want to. Sarah, how do they do that? Let me give you the screenshots.
Over by the subscribe button, there's going to be that join button there. But if you have an iPhone or Apple product, you may not be able to see the join button. So you're going to go over there. There's some little A and a big A up there in that YouTube section up there. You're going to click on that and ask to go to a web browser instead of app form. Once you get there,
mobile form.
Yeah, mobile form. Once you hit web browser, then you get the join button.
There you go. So if you're on an iPhone, the iPad or
Fun
iPhone.
Little tidbit about being a member, most people don't know, is you get use of special emojis.
Yes,
And
special emojis in there too.
I've added some new ones, so if you have any suggestions on those, I'm open to them.
And once you become a member as well, you, of course, in there, you can learn more about it. You can how to become a member as well as the different perks that you get. But also to get the special content, you want to make sure you should get emailed when we do have a member video that goes live. But you can also hit that membership, and that's where you can find all the membership videos that we do. So we try to do 2 a week. So check those out. Every Saturday, I do a lot walk, usually available Saturday afternoon as well as Friday. For those that have an order, you can join us. And this week, we're going to start doing a member live stream as well, where you can ask us questions too. Computer's lagging. I'm working on getting a new hard drive and some things. Yeah. Anyway, we got some other D Rides is in here, and Mav Everlasting just joined. We got Elizabeth. So welcome in, members. I did see All Terrain Nation in there. Yep. So they're in here as well. So welcome in for them. Let me talk about different things going on this week. Okay, so the videos that went, don't forget you can get merch. All that stuff's about the merch and the links. If you have any questions, they're all right there. Sarah's, mine. If you have any questions, you can email us that. Also, our merch site link is in the description as well if you want to get any merch. Yep. Also, the videos that went live this last week, very limited, a couple. Sarah was working from home for a couple days, so we had the 23 Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring video that went live on last Wednesday. We also, I'm trying to wrap up the F-150. When all the others went live, I didn't get those finished, so we're finishing up the F-150. 23 F-150 King Ranch went live, as well as the Platinum videos went live. Platinum was yesterday. Or, was that yesterday? I don't know. Anyway, they went live recently.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. But we still have the 23 F-150 Limited and Tremor that we'll try to finish up this week. Tomorrow I'm going to be moving, so I won't be recording any videos, so I'm going to be a moving man tomorrow, helping out. So we're going to get to see how well the Lightning does. We're actually going to talk about the Lightning and a feature that I'll get to use tomorrow. So we'll wait, and I'll talk about that later. Thursday we'll be back to be on Facebook. If you have any just straight Q&A hour, just give me your questions and we'll answer those questions.
I do not join for that night.
No, you don't join for that. So very. And then also down the description of channels we support, including All Terrain Nation. Also, don't forget about the these car care and reviews, which if you're looking for FordVideoGuy in Canada, that's Johnny. So he had a great live stream on Monday nights, as well as All Terrain Nation. That's usually my entertainment for Monday night. So 7 o'clock I get on. I usually watch Johnny's car care and reviews, and then I switch on over to All Terrain Nation, and I get entertained by Dave over there. And,
mine is
yes, so.
a 3-year-old running around and jumping on the 6-month-old.
Well, sometimes I watch those while we have a little 5-year-old running around. But anyway, but next Monday, if you guys want to check out All Terrain Nation, if you haven't been on their channel, link is down in the description. Next Monday, I'm going to be appearing there on their
Oh, yeah.
channel. So
Yeah.
that'll be fun. From the house, so you'll be able to see. I'm going to try to get a blank wall behind me, guest room upstairs, I guess, and be quiet. So anyway, I'll be using just my tablet, phone, or camera and everything. But we'll have a lot of fun joining them. I know he likes to have people from different YouTube channels on there, and it's always fun. I'm looking forward to it. So it'll be fun. So if you want to check that out, want to see what I have to say or what we talk about there, next Monday night, check out his channel, or their channel, I should say, down in the description. So it'll be a lot of fun. All right. You want to go over our good dealer moments? I actually have photos for this. If you're listening to the podcast, you might want to check this
We
part
are
of it out.
treated to pictures
We got a
tonight.
couple photos.
I think you shouted out my dealership I ordered from a couple times. But just in case, I ordered my XL Hybrid with a moonroof, 2K hitch, and a center console plug from Raceway Ford in Riverside, California. It took me a year. My salesperson was Brandon Ramirez, order specialist was Sterling Finn, and sales manager was Eric Pryor. My price was MSRP and a couple Ford credit incentives. I had a blast and would recommend anyone to order from them.
All right, that was from Jeremy, and he's known on the Maverick Truck Club as 305 Hauler. So, yes, so I've actually chatted with him a couple times and answered some questions. So he's, you guys will know who that is up there. So, cool. So, all right, scheduling information and notes for this week. So, not everything is scheduling this week. And I had a lot of people on the Maverick Truck Club in different places believe that last week was a scheduling for the entire month of January. So when we say that they're scheduling for the entire month of January, that means that they'll schedule for different dates in January, but it doesn't mean that that's the only week they're scheduling for. So, just so you know. So this week they are doing some scheduling on the Maverick and some other vehicles. So every week some models will and some won't. So let's go through the ones that are and are not scheduling. So the 23 Mustang is not scheduling this week. They did say that their U.S. retail order bank is closed 12/5. Actually they extended that. So we'll talk about that in a second, but I talk about it now. The order bank, the 23 Mustang order bank was supposed to close yesterday, and there was a glitch. There was something happening. Somebody didn't get the memo over there at Ford or something. They closed the order banks on Sunday, evidently, and people couldn't put in orders yesterday. So they're extending it one more day. So right now it should be back open. They said about 4 o'clock today. So you have one more day. Tomorrow, if you want to put in a 23 Ford Mustang order in, you have till tomorrow, and the COVP deadline is 12/19. So also 23 Ford Escape is not scheduling this week. It will not schedule. So if you have one of those, you can just relax. 23 Bronco Sport, they said cleanup commit, which means that they have most of the slots filled, but they just want to fill in a couple of extra holes. So they usually will schedule very few vehicles to kind of fill in for the rest of January production. And then 23 Edge is not scheduling this week. They say their plant is full through January 30th. So they have theirs all scheduled out through the month of January. 23 Bronco is not scheduling this week. 23 Explorer is rapid replenishment scheduling only and limited fleet scheduling. So basically rapid replenishment, for those of you that haven't been around when we were talking about that several months ago, is dealerships that basically based on your sales velocity and your volume of sales, if you are limited on how many stock vehicles you have, you can get rapid replenishment stock. That we did receive that on 4 different models, and 3 of them are very impactful for our Mavericks. So we did get some rapid replenishment on Bronco Sport. We're supposed to be getting 5 or 6 that are going to schedule this week because of rapid replenishment, because we were actually out of Bronco Sport allocations. Now we're going to get 5 there's 2 different numbers, and we're trying to figure out what exactly it means, but we're going to be getting at least 5 Bronco Sports scheduled this week for rapid replenishment. So those will get scheduled this week. And so we also are supposed to be getting some Escape ones, but they're not scheduling this week. And we're supposed to get Rangers. So those are 3 models that go into the effect of the Maverick. And we're also getting some Explorers as well. So pretty cool that we were earning extra allocations in the middle of the month like this. It's pretty cool. 23 Expedition is scheduling for January production dates. We do have 1 allocation left of that, so we might get those scheduled. 23 Maverick is scheduling through January 30th, so they're still scheduling those dates. So a lot of people thought, again, as I mentioned earlier, that they were done with production and filled in everything, and everybody was concerned about that because there were some people that did not get scheduled that had canceled orders and such, and there were some EcoBoosts that didn't get scheduled, and so people were concerned that it was done, but it's not. They're going to fill in, so that pretty much and more than likely what they did was I noticed that all of our 22 canceled ones, those 17 or 16, they got scheduled. Well, most of those they were hybrid and they were luxury package. So what they're going to probably do this week is we're probably going to see a lot of EcoBoost get scheduled this week. We actually aren't having any previewing this week. One of the things I did notice when we looked at our orders, about all of our orders that are priority 10, 11, 12, and 13, which are our rollover orders, all of them have the NSP on there, which means if you scroll over it, there's something on there that's causing it for not getting scheduled. And one of the things that I noticed on there, other than the hitch on a lot of them, but there were some that didn't have the hitch and some that were EcoBoost as well. And they had that NSP on there. And one of the things that look like is our region is not getting a lot of allocations this week. So it looks like if you're in the KC region, you probably won't get scheduled. They're probably going to be scheduling other regions. So that doesn't have to do with all regions. If you see it with us, it's just that we're in the Kansas City region. Our region looks like, based on what I'm finding, is that they're not going to have allocations scheduled this week.
Well, even some of our 15s. Priority 15s
had the NSP,
had NSP.
So I think
Legos had it on there.
Yeah. So other regions are probably going to schedule. They probably last week focused in on the Midwest and some of the regions. So some of the other regions will probably schedule this week instead. So just gotta work it around for everybody. 23 Ranger is not scheduling this week. Does mention if you want to be scheduled in future weeks to remove on the 101A to remove 90D to allow for scheduling, and I don't know what the option is, but we'll talk about some of those constraints in just a little bit.
Which model?
On the Ranger.
On the Ranger?
I don't know what
90D
90D is. Anyway, 23 F-150 is scheduling through the weeks of January 16th, and don't forget very limited 2 kilowatt power inverters for those gas motors. Very limited Super Cruise being scheduled. That's new. Also very limited moonroofs. So if you have a moonroof on yours, probably won't get scheduled. Very limited with the running boards, and I think it's the black platform running boards. Very limited power tailgates. And then also very limited on 5.0 and 3.3 liters. So if you got an EcoBoost, you got a hybrid or one of the hybrids, you have a regular cab, super cab, got a pretty good shot. So keep that in mind. 23 Super Duty is scheduling. They're doing startup scheduling for the Kentucky truck plants only. They're not going to start production yet for Ohio yet. Remember, no King Ranch Platinum or Limited will be scheduled until April. So they're not going to be scheduled until Job 2 production. Job 2 production won't start till April, so we probably won't see those scheduled until like March. So keep that in mind. Transconnect van and wagon, no scheduling. Man, that seems like every week they have been scheduling. 23 Transit is scheduling through the week of January 23rd. And again, reminder, very limited 3.5 liter EcoBoost engines for the rear regular cargo van and crew van. That's kind of they're adding a couple requirements there. Also, HID static bending headlights and limited high-res camera with the 12-inch screen. So keep that in mind. And then Mach-E, no scheduling, no U.S. scheduling, it says. So they're probably scheduled for other countries. Little note on here is the plant facility will be down from the day after Christmas until February 12th. I've seen it usually down for like a couple weeks for maintenance, but not a whole month and a half. So
on the Ranger, you want to take off 90D. It's 2 key fobs with perimeter alarm.
We'll be talking about that on the 101A. Yeah, we'll be talking about that. So what's it says in here? It says remove 90D.
Mm-hmm. So
I think what they mean is to add it, because you see the note required option
with feature is not available.
So I think that we're getting into that. We'll talk about that a little bit. Talk about Lincoln real quick. 23 Corsair is not scheduling this week. 23 Nautilus is not scheduling this week. Plant is full through January 30th. Navigator Aviator first is limited retail gas scheduling. We do have 18 allocations, so we need some of those scheduled. No plugins being scheduled this week, and 23 Navigator is scheduling for January scheduling, just like Expedition. So those go hand in hand.
Yep.
All right, we're through that. So anything questions we need to address?
Not so far.
All right, want to keep Sarah involved here, so I'm not doing all the talking here. So anyway.
I jump in here and
All
there.
right. Well, if there's any questions that I can answer for everybody, especially the audience.
I haven't.
So I know you're able to answer
yeah.
them, but if they're good questions that other people could have, let me know, and then you could tell me the answer too.
Yeah.
Anything?
I mean, besides the
Oh wait,
little...
somebody down there. Scroll down some more. Someone said something about the 2 kilowatt.
How to get a 2 kilowatt for the back of a Maverick.
Oh. Okay. Well, there's a 400 watt outlet. You got to go luxury package to get
Yeah.
that. So there you go. See. So if you have any other questions like that, just let us know there.
I mean, it's mostly chit chat.
What am I saying? All right. Okay. Well, then we'll go into the dealer news updates.
Talking about my hair going red and green next. Probably not. I'm probably gonna stay blonde.
All right. So dealer news updates. Mentioned the Mustang order bank. Some of these news updates I want to talk about, we're going to talk about in tonight's topic. And don't forget, the agenda is right over here.
Where is it?
Right here. Right there. So we're going to go through that. So schedule information, we just got done with dealer news updates. And then when we get down to the topic, I'm looking forward to it, talking about it, not looking forward to the reason we're talking
He's
about
excited.
it. But I mean, I want to get it out. I want to get it out and open. I want to make sure everybody knows what's going on. So
yeah. What is a transit trail?
Transit trail. All right, that
He
is.
just wants to know when to order.
That is. I think it's a little late. Here's the deal on the transit trail and how you can order one. So you had to have already had one since the 23 transit order banks are kind of closed. You already had to have like the right body code already ordered. Okay. And then change it over. It hasn't been scheduled to a trail package.
Okay.
Did talk about it a couple of weeks ago, a little bit, and in one of my videos. I can't remember what episode that was, but yeah. So that's available on the transit van, and basically it's a trail package on it. So it's gonna be a conversion. It's more of a Ford conversion than having it converted by somebody else.
Okay.
It's gonna get upgraded, grill, marker lights.
Would that be good for someone that's living out of it?
Camping. It's camper life, van life. Definitely.
It's the trend.
Yeah. So yeah, do a search for it, but it's pretty cool, and we'll see it more in 2024. But some fleet companies could order the right package and put that on there, and then they could upfit it from there if they have a fleet. The fleets could still order them, I guess. So, but for the most part, most customers aren't gonna be able to order one unless unless a dealership has some already. Some orders already in the right body code. It has to be certain body code and everything. All right. So a couple of these we're going to talk about later. But first off, I want to talk about the Maverick Hitch. Right? We've been talking about around here.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get aftermarket. I'm like, I need some information, and they've been, we're still working on it and such. I said, finally, we made them realize any information is information. Whether it's bad information, we need to know it. So. Someone actually sent me a YouTube video that I linked in the description on how to install the Hitch aftermarket on your Ford Maverick. That's great. Somebody also noted in that was that they didn't mention and didn't show anything about the wiring. And that's because right now there's issues with the wiring. So we actually have been trying to put a Hitch on a Maverick here, which I said, why didn't you tell me? We could have done video and everything else. We can mount the Hitch on. You can get the Hitch. It is bolted on to the frame. And so the Hitch can be installed. That's not the issue. It's not the Hitch. It is the wiring. Yes. So you cannot Ford cannot get the wiring. It keeps throwing codes and having other issues with your wiring and such when they try to plug in the Hitch wiring to it, and that's why they're having issues with it. So that's why Ford doesn't have a fix yet on the wiring part of it. So there is a wiring in the description. He says, well, I have this, but it's not going to be covered under warranty. Even
Yes.
Kurt, it's Kurt. You know, Kurt makes hitches and such. They do have the wiring. I linked it in the description. If you really wanted to try to do it aftermarket, you could, but it would void your warranty probably.
Yes.
So it would, if you plug in that wiring and it throws some electrical issues in your vehicle, Ford's not going to cover the fix. You're gonna have to pay for it on your own. So, not the news people wanting to look for, but at least it's some news. So I don't think anybody has come up with a fix yet on the wiring, including Ford, to do it aftermarket. So, so the problem isn't the installing the hitch; it's the wiring.
Yep.
So again, maybe you want to reconsider ditching the hitch. So I've been coining that phrase, ditch the hitch. But at this point, maybe you don't want to ditch the hitch. So, and really, it depends on what you want to use the hitch for. So if you want to just use it as a bike carrier or something like that, where you still have your brake lights, and it's not a trailer itself, but if you're putting a trailer back there when you want wiring to the trailer, then that's where I think you probably want to go ahead and leave it on your order. So, so maybe ditch the hitch, maybe not. So,
I mean, and on that topic of aftermarket parts, we had that question earlier about what was that called?
the forescan.
The forescan. That could also potentially void your warranty by messing with settings and things in your vehicle. It could wipe all of the settings out.
It could mess with some. It could cause electrical issue.
Yeah.
The way I always look at it is, for me, my opinion is, if it's not done at a Ford dealer and it throws something off, and Ford can tell that you did it yourself, they won't cover it under the warranty.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, if a Ford dealer doesn't do it, you'd be a little leery about it. Some things you do to yours, put a bed cover on, something like that, that kind of thing. But if it's something that you do to the vehicle and Ford can tell that it caused an issue from something you did, then they're not going to cover that issue. So they're going to make you cover it. So keep that in mind. All right, let's talk about price increases. So I actually noticed from the order guide updates and the pricing updates on the first that some prices were going to go up. And yesterday they did release information on that. The 23 Escape, the hybrid Escape went up $1,000. So if you have, again, don't forget, price protection is going to be very important. COVP is important for the price protection. So if you had a 23 hybrid order in prior to December 1st, then, or maybe it goes into effect on the 5th. But if you had your order in before then, you won't see, your dealership should not charge you that extra $1,000 when it comes in. Again, price protection is going to come into play, but you also had to have a COVP order. So if your dealer said, we don't need a COVP it, then see if they're going to cover the $1,000 then. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
23 Explorer, the Timberline and ST went up $500, and the Explorer hybrids went up $1,000. So we're going to talk about EV and battery production in just a little bit, and resources for batteries for Ford in a little bit. 23 Expedition, XLT went up $1,250. The Timberline went up $750, and the Limited, King Ranch, and Platinum went up $1,000. So, yeah, those went up too.
The railroad situation has been fixed.
Yeah, it's been fixed. Well, not fixed necessarily.
Not fixed, but it's settled down.
Yeah. Well,
for now.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So yeah, so government stepped in, right? And pretty much in a sense, they used a 94-year-old law to make sure that the railroads don't strike, right? So I think if you're part of a union railroad, you're probably not going to vote for Biden come next year. I don't take politics. I'm just saying that I could see that happening. But Union Joe did not help them out, because what they really wanted, all they wanted was sick pay.
Yes.
We give you sick pay. Most jobs you get sick pay, but the railroads don't. That's a bummer. Anyway, so anyway, they're going to be back working, but how hard will they work?
Yeah.
I expect delays. There's already delays, but I expect more of them.
Someone asked if they add something on plus wheels onto their vehicle, would it void the warranty? I would say if it's put on by a Ford aftermarket department, you're most likely good to go, as long as they mention this won't void the warranty.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things you do when you put new wheels or put new tires, the speedometer is going to need to be recalibrated.
Yes.
Otherwise, your
So
speedometer could be off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, maybe not, unless unless your tires, because of the wheels and the bigger wheel tires you put on it, affect it rubbing somewhere.
Yep.
It could affect those tires, and they won't cover those tires because they didn't put them on.
Yep.
Or if it rubs and it causes some damage underneath the vehicle
I
and
have
the wheel
seen.
well.
In fact, we have a sales assistant. His truck. I heard a clicking sound as he was churning this morning, and I was like, "Your truck doesn't sound good." He's like, "Yeah, it's the size of my tires. It's hitting the under. What is that? The undercarriage,
wheel well.
the wheel well of his truck."
Yeah.
And so the Ford's not going to warranty the wheel well, and they aren't going to warranty those tires either.
No, so something to think about. All right. Speaking of order guide changes that I noticed on the first, 23 Bronco Sport had a couple changes of their order guide, just some wording. The graphic package that is available that's new for this year is available on the base, Big Bend, Outer Banks, and Badlands is actually called the Topo graphic. So maybe a little indication of what it could look like. So that's actually, they gave that the wording, they added that to the graphic package. And also, they changed the name of the Badlands seat from Unique Style to Unstoppable. So, more durable, hopefully. I didn't say it's vinyl, but it's unstoppable material, whatever it is. All right, 23 Explorer. They did add the wording Power Liftgate on the Timberline. I think it already had Power Liftgate, but now they want to make sure that's on there. So, let's see, Michael had a question here. Thanks, Tim, for saving my private offer after last week's show. I went to my dealer and found out I wasn't listed. Zip code was off. GM and inventory specialist found my certificate number. Thanks again. There you go.
Yeah.
Follow the tips. But that's for the I have gotten an email from a person that's at a dealership that the dealership is very stubborn and they're not willing to help. This dealership is a good dealership. Michael, you need to tell us who that dealership is, because they're a good dealership that looked into it for you, and they contacted the inventory specialist and they got it done. So you need to let us know what that dealership is, because that's a good dealership we need to highlight. 23 Escape, the changes on the order guide for that was they added remote start system available on the 100A, 200A, and the 300A or 301A. Which is your base, active, and your ST line, those trims. Splash guards were also added as an option to the ST line Select, and ST line Elite. And on the 23 Maverick, they added the wording Flex Bed Storage System as standard equipment. We already had Flex Bed, but they just put it in there because it was missing, which was missing in 22 as well. Anyway, and moving on. Any other questions we have here?
Joe Brown just posted one. Something I've been struggling with, and I know others are too. Order an EV Maverick from local dealer with few allocations. Numbers say all EVs should get built, but the allocations? Question mark.
Allocations are done on a monthly basis. So, like this month, we had 43 allocations. We have 25 left. Some scheduled last week. We still have 25 allocations left. Because the region doesn't have allocations, let's say, and we're not able to use the rest of our 25 because of the region not have allocations, then they'll get moved to next month. And next month we'll get more allocations. So allocations are done on a monthly basis based on your sales volume. Unless it's Maverick, then it's based on Escape, Bronco Sport, and Ranger and Maverick sales together to give you your number. And so that's how that works. So every month you'll get different numbers. So this month they may be out of allocations, but next month they'll be scheduled for you then. So, and we're still kind of working off of, when we talk about last month, we're actually in the week. This is the week of the 6th. So this is technically still November's allocations. So we should be receiving December's allocations. Or I don't know if, I know last year when they did allocations for November, it was for November and December. So I'm not sure if that's the case this year or not. But they are doing things differently. All right, moving on, if there's no other questions.
Have we looked at our own 22 carryover orders to see if the priority number has changed to a 2? Yes.
All of ours scheduled. All of ours
scheduled.
all but the one.
All but the one.
So we
Okay.
have an issue with one, and I can talk about it in a second. So all of ours, we had 21 that carried that canceled that were canceled and carried over. Of those, 16 out of those 21. Well, actually, 21 out of the 20, or 20 out of the 21 actually carried over. One of them had a conflict because we already had one scheduled with the same order number, so we couldn't push over with that order number because it would affect the one that's already been scheduled. In fact, it's supposed to be here before Christmas. So that they couldn't do that. So what they had us do is add that person's order as a stock order, and then they would change it over to retail and give it priority 2. Well, it gave it priority 2, but it didn't schedule last week with all the others because it was a stock, and they're only looking for retails to schedule.
Yeah.
So it didn't. So I talked to them. So hopefully maybe that one schedules this week. It's still staying in stock.
Yeah.
But whatever. But then we had 4 others that decided to cancel. So I left the orders in there. They're priority 99s. But it was a good thing to do because there were people asking if the ones that were in their priority 99, if the dealership didn't change those to a 10, if they got deleted. And I can firmly say they have not. They're still sitting in the system. So just because it was a 99, your dealership dropped the ball and didn't put it as a 10, it's still in there. So it did not get canceled like on the Bronco. Bronco was a unique situation where they wanted to kind of clear all of the clutter and the people that have just said, whatever. But on the Maverick, it was different. That's still sitting in there as a Party 99. In fact, I can tell you how many are still in Party 99. There's like 1,800 orders, Maverick orders, that are still sitting with the Party 99. So, those are the canceled orders. So, so there's still that many that have not been converted over. Somebody donated, Andrew donated $5. What was his question? Yeah, out there.
Tim and Sarah, I have a friend who's ordering a 23 Bronco from Lonnie when the ordering banks open.
All right.
Keep up the good work.
Cool. Good. Which we still don't know when that is yet. Ford hasn't said anything. We're kind of hoping that once they cancel those orders, we'd know something, but still not.
If my dealer says they only get 2 Maverick allocations a month, does that mean they are pretty small?
Yes, they are.
Oh, okay.
If they only get 2
not
allocations,
necessarily.
if they only get 2 allocations a month, yeah, that's pretty small.
Okay.
Probably.
Well, but
Not
that
the
could be
smallest dealerships because they're only going to get 1 for the year. So Rachel said, "Thank you again for all your hard work. Grateful for all the info." Thank you, Rachel. Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. So, all right, and hashtag Tremor for Christmas. That actually got Ford Authority wrote an article about getting trimmers before Christmas, and I'm like, wonder where they got that from. I think Ford Authority, I know you're in here watching us. I know it. Give us some credit once in a while. All right. Ford News. I want to talk about a couple different articles that came out this week, and I'll try to be quick. I know you guys have questions, but we'll try to answer questions as we go along, if that helps. So here's the funny one. Okay. So Ford won an award this week, right? Autoblog has an award called the 2022 Technology of the Year Award for technology that is introduced into vehicles, into different vehicles. And the Ford had a technology that was released that won the award. And that is the onboard scales and smart hitch for hauling and towing features. So I'll tell you why I'm laughing about this. All right, it says not only will make observing your truck's maximum loads easier and more intuitive, but it will also ensure you're hauling and towing in the safest possible manner. It says so they narrowed it down to 3 vehicles, and then they tested them and they rated them in 3 different categories. The 3 vehicles, of course, the Ford F-150, and it was actually the Lightning that they did this, but they say all the F-150s can get this feature. They said the other vehicles was the GMC Hummer EV for its flashy crab walk 4-steer technology, and Genesis GV60 for its facial recognition and fingerprint start technology. If you just have the security code passive anti-theft system, you don't really need fingerprint. Anyway, so they rate them on 3 categories, which is probably why Genesis didn't win. One of the categories is how significant is this tech? how well does it work? And new for this year is consider the wow factor. So that's probably why the fingerprint thing got a wow factor. So anyway, so this is the second year that Ford has won. And last year, in fact, this is the only manufacturer that's won it back-to-back years, by the way. And only one other manufacturers won it twice. They won it last year for the Pro Power onboard charging feature, which is available on vehicles. So the reason I'm laughing is because if some of you know this, especially if you have a Lightning on order or Lightning scheduled, you know why I'm laughing. The onboard scales in Smart Hitch won an award for its how awesome a technology it is, but you can't even get it on a vehicle right now. It is removing it off all of your F-150 Lightning. You can't get a 2023 F-150 Lightning right now with the feature on there. It's removing it out of the technology package. It's removing it completely, and maybe even on some of the F-150s, it's going to remove it as well. So, yeah. Great job, Ford. You won an award. Now just give us the feature.
Yeah.
I have it. I'm not complaining because I actually have it, and I'm going to use it tomorrow because I am going to be pulling a trailer.
Yep.
And what's cool about the Smart Hitch and what it does, and I actually didn't know what it did for a little while, but when you hook up that trailer, it'll tell you how level it is and their distribution and everything. And so when you start loading an empty trailer, if it's maybe too heavy in the back or the front, it'll tell you that so you can even out your load, which is really cool. And then the onboard scales will actually weigh it, and you can actually use your tail lights and you can put it on your backup lights, and it actually, as you put it in, it'll tell you if you're to the max or not, and you can use your app.
That's pretty cool.
It is. It's just not available on the 23 F-150 Lightning right now.
Okay.
It's available on 22, but not 23.
Okay. Thanks to everyone at McArthur. I placed a deposit on a canceled 22 Maverick XLT with 4K package. Negotiations were easy, and after market sales prices were fair. Awesome.
All right. Well, good. We do have some EcoBoosts available, and maybe now that's just one available. We had two. The EcoBoosts are the ones that seem like we keep for a little while. So if you're looking for an EcoBoost, always check our website out because it seems like I know right now we have two showing, but maybe one of them is not available anymore. Always be looking for that. So I think most of the EcoBoosts we have though are like loaded up ones, and some of the people aren't looking for those. They're looking for hybrid right now. So. When we get a hybrid, even at $7,500 over, that goes like in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but the EcoBoosts, are lasting longer. That's why we have those, don't have those marked up as much. So anyway.
To ask a question, you put at Ron McArthur or at Sarah Davis in front of your question in the chat. Putting at Sarah Davis will bring it to my attention. Woohoo, after 18 months.
Reservation from reservation, my F-150 Lightning Pro just arrived in Los Angeles Rail Yard. Awesome. Now let's see if the dealer will honor the second price increase of 5K. Thanks. Yep. So thanks for the donation, by the way. Appreciate that. And yes, hopefully so. Because we actually had a dealer reach out to us from California. I don't know if it was your dealer or not. Maybe it was. But they actually asked that. They said, we know about the price, the private offer they're going to get, the $7,000, because the price went up $7,000 from 22 to 23. But we've never seen a private offer used in conjunction with the price protection within that year. And, I reminded them, I said, well, it's going to happen because we're going to see that with Mavericks. We're going to see Mavericks. I guarantee there's going to be a price increase coming up. And we'll see a price increase, and it'll be on orders of people that have orders, and we're going to see that. And you're going to need to be able to use those together. And actually, do I have that? I think I have that.
Keith Stiff. We don't send out like a weekly notice. Tim does weekly videos. So you go into YouTube, and that's where you find the weekly videos.
Yep. All right. So anyway, on the Lightning, it didn't mention that the price increase that happened when it went up $5,000. It said anybody that was currently scheduled with a Lightning Pro would not be affected by that price increase. So it is in a dealer memo that I can send you. So let me know if you're struggling with that dealership and they need that. I can send you the memo and even highlight the terminology they use there. You will be price protected, or the dealership will be. So.
Thank you, William McCann.
William gave us a donation.
I like that emoji.
Woohoo! Or what's
Good luck.
Good luck. All right. So a couple of other EV related articles I want to talk about. This one is from Ford Authority. Again, they're linked in the description if you want to read them in detail. Ford EV, they're going about differently than what Tesla is when it comes to getting their raw materials and the batteries. Or the raw materials for the batteries, I should say, and that they're trying to work with companies. So I'm not going to actually read the whole article, but just kind of, they're working with SK on so that they can partner. And SK on is, they're working with other companies like Lake Resources and Global Lithium Resources to get them materials for the batteries. And we do see, back when Tesla was doing it, it was a little easier because that was the lithium was more readable because there weren't all these dealerships trying to get lithium.
Yeah.
Now that all these dealerships are wanting to go EV, now we're seeing a supply shortage on that, and so the prices are going up on the lithium. So Ford is trying to go to lithium ion phosphate for their batteries in the F-150 Lightning and the Mach-E, and hopefully they think that will lower the cost because of the nickel and cobalt in their construction, that will help lower the cost a little bit. And there are other people that maybe aren't looking in that direction, so that's kind of their hope. So we'll just have to see. So anyway, so that article there is in the description if you want to read it. Also, there's one about the Ford dealers. If you guys heard, last week was the deadline for those that want to become EV or Model E dealers. A lot of dealers upset, but they did say that 2/3, about 65% of the dealers signed up for that. And I think 1,600 of them were the elite dealers, which that only makes sense. And then some are not elite dealers, but they're still EV dealers, which means they can sell like one or two a year, or 1 to 2 a month, which I don't know. Why would you do that? But anyway, but there are some dealerships linked in the articles, linked in the description, where I think Ford Authority mentions it, and they actually resource and reference automotive news, which you have to have a subscription to get automotive news, and I do get that. But so I was able to read that article. But a couple dealers or a couple states have formal complaints they filed because of Ford and requiring this, and actual New York now has they took legal action. So which is, I mean, some of the other ones they're just doing formal complaints, which really doesn't really go far. But now New York, the state of New York, is filing a legal action against the Model E certification program, because they say that the let me get the quote down here. Every dealer under the current franchise agreement has a right to every Ford vehicle manufactured with that nameplate on it, to include the newest EVs. And the attorney's name is Rich Sox. This says they have a right to their fair allocation of those vehicles based on their market size, sales history, etc. This is about making sure all dealers have access to EVs and not being pigeonholed into one of 3 categories the program arbitrarily created. So Ford's response to this, and there's a reason why there was EV dealerships that you had to sign up for, and then they were able to do this. And the reason why they couldn't make these rules for dealers on the current plan was because of what they're saying. But that's why they went to the Model E plan that you need to sign up for. And so Ford's, Ford, they got themselves covered. I mean, they have lawyers, they know what they're doing. But they said that Ford did not comment on the legal action. It noted that the new program is, in quotes, is consistent with all relevant laws. Ford intends to conquest customers through its new EV business, an opportunity for the company and dealers to grow together, the automaker said in a statement. To do so, Ford and its dealers must take reasonable steps to better serve our existing and future EV customers, to compete against startups and legacy OEMs, talking about Tesla there, in a rapidly changing market. So we're like fine with it. I mean, it makes sense. I think one of the things is that a lot of dealers don't like that they have to put in those chargers, because that's the cost. That's a big cost. They have to have, not only do they have to have the customer retail facing chargers, they make money off those chargers if people use them though. And also they have to have extra chargers and service drive as well. So if somebody brings in an EV vehicle for service, not sure they don't really need service much. Windshield wipers, brakes. Yeah. I need my tire pressure monitor actually checked. But other than that, there's not much they do. But when they get them back, they should have over 80% charge. So that's why they need the chargers and service. But other than that, I mean, they do make, you are going to be making money on this in the long run. So these vehicles do have a markup. There may not be a MSRP and invoice may be the same, but the dealers get a certain percentage as long as they follow all their guidelines.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of tags there. Anything you want to share there?
Well, Spexinator and I are talking about me going to Arizona to see Royals in training.
You have relatives in Arizona too, right?
I know, that's what I said. I have relatives in Arizona. He's like, it's 70 degrees in March in Arizona, while it's like 0 in Kansas. Said no, it's more like 30, maybe 60, depending on the time of day.
Yep. You have a relative that built that's in construction there in Phoenix. So, all right. Is it true this week? I decided let's talk about these the transition private offers. We talked about it last week, so a lot of people this week reached out to me, tagged me on Maverick Truck Club and such, and said that offer that you mentioned expires January 3rd.
Yeah.
And so that's my question is, does a transition offer expire? So I got the answer for you. I was assuming that it would not expire. It would, and once we got to Q1, quarter one, that January 3rd date would move back and such. But I got the official answer from my source. They said, I confirmed that Ford approves incentives on a quarterly basis. When quarter one incentives are approved, the expiration date will get extended through March. So it'll get an early April date. The intention is that these are not expiring until all 23 model year Mavericks are delivered. So they'll keep extending it. So their incentives are always quarterly. So you'll see that happen. Some rebates will expire at the end of each month, but a lot of those private offers will always expire at the end of the quarter. So that's why we see January 3rd is the expiration date. Come January 3rd, when they approve the quarter one incentives, then it'll get reset to a date in April 1st or somewhere in April. So don't worry about it. It's not expiring. You're good to go.
I've waited 15 months now, canceled to a 23. Will I be given priority for my build? Yes. If you had one that was scheduled and it got canceled, you get priority. And
you should get a priority too.
Yes.
You'll make sure your dealership has dropped it from that priority 99 though.
Yep.
So you want to make sure you do that. All right. So this week's topic: how will supply issues affect my order getting built? So as I went through the changes, a lot of the order guides changed on December 1st. So they do a monthly order guide update. They like to make sure the order guide is like the gospel in a sense. I mean, it is like here the order guide. This is the order guide. We can't add an option unless it's in the order guide. That's kind of the way they look at things. And so that's why when I do my videos, my complete guide videos, I always use the order guide and not necessarily go 100% what build and price says, because that's not always 100% right. So I always go off the order guide because they will always update that. They do a monthly update. So it seemed like almost every model got an update. And as I was going through it and seeing what they added a lot of removal items because of supply issues. So I want to go through each of the different models and tell you what's being removed or could be removed from your vehicle. Now, I will preface this and say that these options are added to the order guide, but usually what that says, you actually had that pulled up on that one order guide. You still have it pulled up? No?
The order guide?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Once you pull it up? No? Okay.
Here, I can pull it up real quick.
All right. So a lot of times though, it'll say something like required option when unavailable or when it's not available. And so the saying that sometimes it may not be available. So let's start with the 23 Bronco as she pulls that up.
So which one I'm pulling up?
Any of them.
Any of them?
Well, why don't you pull up the Bronco Sport?
The Bronco Sport.
Okay, so 23 Bronco, they added, actually this just recently, subwoofer delete on the standard radio for all the series, and they also added the reduced functionality on the optional radio. So again, they're trying to help with the chip shortage and that kind of thing. And they also added heated side view mirror removal on all series on those options. So they added those to the order guide, but doesn't mean that they're going to it's going to be something that they are going to do right away. So that's why it's real important to watch. I think to watch the live streams, because they let us know by the dealer news updates that, hey, this is being removed. Let your customers know.
Yeah.
And they'll just remove it. And I actually have one later where I have that example from today. They released some information on the Expedition, on the Platinum Edition of something, and I can read that word for word for you. Now, Bronco Sport, so how's that read? Go to like the optional equipment for the base.
Optional for the base.
Speaking of that, 23 Bronco Sport, and those are the ones that were on there for the Bronco was the radio. So reduced functionality on the optional radio, and then the subwoofer delete off the standard radio.
Yeah.
Now on the Bronco Sport, the 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot removal. Right there. It does not say it there. It's just a credit here. So scroll on down and see if you can get to the B&O audio. And then the other one that they added was the B&O audio sound system with reduced capacity amp as well, just like in the Bronco. So this will probably be on the Outer Banks. Keep going. Yeah, further. There we go. Now keep going just a little bit. Okay, so on the Outer Banks, it says right there, required option when feature is not available. So right now the feature is available, so that's not going to be taken off of your order. But they have to have the option there so they can easily continue production by being able to go, okay, well, right now we're having part constraints there with that, so let's go ahead and add the order so that even on these scheduled orders, so they can continue to be produced. So the goal is to keep pumping out the vehicles as fast as they can and keep that production up. And if your vehicle comes with a few less options, then that's fine. I was going to put in a poll, but forgot to. But so that's the question is, what do you guys think? Are you okay with that? Because we've had some people that said, hey, if my F-150 comes in without my Sirius satellite and the navigation, do I have to take it? And I think it was a question last week. And I was like, you don't have to take it, and the dealership can sell it, but in Ford's mind, they're not going to give you a private offer because your vehicle was built. And so that's just the way it goes. So you'll have to keep that in mind.
John Ellen, we answered the factory, will it be shut down? The Maverick factory, will it be shut down for Christmas?
Not that we know of. They might run limited shifts. Instead of 3 shifts, they might run just a couple or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Good question. But typically not. So the factory won't be down. Ford will be. I've decided to start taking vacation when Ford takes vacation, when Ford's off. I'm just going to start doing that because they don't have or release anything. So during Thanksgiving was nice because I didn't have to worry about looking at anything because I knew Ford was closed. So they weren't going to release any news during that time, no media or anything. So I'm just going to take off when they're off.
Yeah. Ceramic pricing, Roderick. I think it's between $1,200 and $1,500.
You have to check with our aftermarket guys.
Yeah.
Niles and them.
But it's between those price ranges.
Yep. All right, 23 Edge, moving along, has the B&O audio sound system with reduced capacity amp. We're hearing that. That's the only thing listed on there. Again, not required unless they have issues with it, and they'll let us know. So maybe you want to stay tuned. If you have a vehicle on order, I would recommend you check out our live streams every week so I can go over any of these dealer news updates of any of these things that are happening. I had, actually, it's funny because I had sales guys said, my customer's F-150 showed up without the navigation, or without the navigation. I said, and it probably doesn't have Sirius either. He's like, yeah, how'd you know? I said, I talked to them about it on a live stream. You should watch it sometime. So I gave him a bad time about it. I'm like, I already know about that. I already talked about it.
Yeah.
Even today, one of the managers has said something about, did you know that Ford Mustang's coming out with a bronze package in 24? I said, yeah, I do. I covered it in my live stream. Anyway, so that's a plug for the live stream every week. 23 Escape. Sirius XM with 360L removal on the 301A, ST line, Select, Elite, Platinum, and plug-in. Here's one that is I think a biggie. 2 key fobs, 1 keyless entry and 1 manual key on the base model for the Escape, which can only be ordered by customers. Also, there's another option for that, which is 2 key fobs, both of them manual on the base model, which means you wouldn't have a keyless entry. You'd have to just use the old open the door with the key thing. B&O audio sound system well with that one with the HD radio, 10 speakers, and sub reduced capacity on the amp on that one too.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of similarities in a lot of these vehicles. So you're seeing what Ford's trying to do, and I commend them on this because they want to keep producing these vehicles and getting in people's driveways and in their hands, and allow them to drive a vehicle when they need a vehicle or they want a new vehicle. And so they're trying to take things off that maybe they don't feel like will impact their life as much. And so that's why they're doing like the B&O audio sound system with reduced capability or capacity. I mean,
Yeah.
for those the keys, and you'll notice they're doing it to just one key and not both. And so, in fact, I'm going to tell you about the Maverick in a second of what I suggest you should do on your Maverick, so that you don't want it impacted by this if you don't want to. And so, a lot of them, it's going to be one manual key and one remote key. Well, like for my vehicle, my wife doesn't drive the F-150. Hardly ever does she drive it. Well, I actually don't use my key anyway. I use phone as a key.
My husband grabs my key.
Which we'll talk about.
Because we trade keys.
So-
I have to have his key to drive his car if we switch, so he just uses my keys.
So you have a second key in case. So, so Rachel actually said, I love my B&O audio sound system. So, and I like mine in my F-150 too.
Yeah.
23 Expedition, the auto start stop removal, which a lot of people, that's again a thing that people ask. They don't want it anyway. Half the people. We don't notice it on our Expedition. The second row power windows one touch up and down feature removal. So that means one touch means that you just hard press it down until you feel it click, and then you let go of your finger and it rolls on down. For the back windows, I see that as a cool feature that I like to use in the drive-through for my driver's window. I could care less about the other four.
Oh, yeah. Actually, though.
The passenger one over here, I like to actually press both of them in the Bronco so that they can just go down and I can start driving. When I want to have I put the top down, the windows down. It's kind of nice.
So, but with my 3-year-old, he wants the window down. Well, but then all of a sudden he doesn't want it down. So I'm driving and I have to sit there and hold it. So having all four would be nice in that case.
Okay. See, some things are important to other people and not to others. All right. Active Park Assist 2.0 removal, and that would be on any of them that have the Active Park Assist 2.0. That would be your maybe the Active or Park Assist. Maybe that's its own package. Yeah, you will also see that what I noticed too on there are some vehicles that they made these options an optional equipment. Instead of including it in the package for that vehicle, they made it as optional equipment, knowing that there's a possibility that if they want it, they can just add it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can save some on that.
Yeah. Is there anything that you could add on to your build to increase the chances of getting it scheduled?
To add on to get it scheduled? Some of the vehicles there are.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about the Maverick in a second. All right. They also, on the Expedition, they deleted the hands-free foot-activated liftgate, which was funny is I didn't notice on the other order guides, but they deleted it. They removed it on the Edge as well and on the Escape, I believe. So at this point, even on the Lincoln SUVs, you're not going to be able to get the hands-free foot-activated liftgate. That was something that we didn't have in our Expedition, which XLT actually lost it for 2022 anyway, which my wife finally got used to that and getting the foot. Now she actually misses it. So I said, well, just kick your foot up to the liftgate where the button is. You gotta use your foot. It's still foot activated. You just have to get your foot high enough to press the button. I'm just kidding. All right. Dad joke. They also added the side view mirror heated glass removal. It does say the words on hold on some of these, which is kind of unusual, including that one, which probably means they're not doing it yet, but they might have to. Also, they added the inclination and intrusion sensor removal, which we've talked about that in the past as well. They also added the option B&O sound system, 12 speakers with sub-reduced amp or capacity amp on hold on the Timberline Unlimited. And also the B&O Unleashed sound system, 22 speakers with the sub-reduced capacity, which is on hold for the limited 304A, King Ranch, and Platinum. And they added Blue Cruise removal is on hold on the Platinum.
Martin asks, how do you keep up with all these additions and removals? I'm glad I don't have your job. Keep up the great work. He has a list.
There's a lot of dealers that don't either. I got to look them up.
He looks it up, but he has a list.
Half the time we don't know. And what the worst case about this is that usually Ford will tell you. In fact, here's the next one I want to talk about, because Ford actually released this news today and said, Multi-contoured seat removal, and this is on the Expedition. Multi-contoured seat removal starting with 12/12 production. So any vehicles starting to be built next week will not have the multi-contoured seats, even if they got scheduled with that option on there.
Yeah.
And this is on the Platinums, and they have no plan to retrofit the option onto it. So even if you got scheduled, Ford's pulling it off the scheduled orders and unscheduled orders at this time. They did mention, I don't know if I didn't put it in here. They did mention that if it comes back, they will try to put it back on the vehicles that are unscheduled. But if yours get scheduled, that's where somebody asked and said, well, can I hold off? Is there a way for me to hold off and try to get scheduled later when it might come back in stock?
Yeah.
If it does, that's the problem, is we don't know if it will. On the F-150, the Sirius XM and the navigation never came back as an option. So keep that in mind. 23 Explorer, auto start stop removal, the 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot removal, Sirius XM removal, rear auxiliary controls removal, second row heated seat removal, Beano audio sound system with reduced capacity amp. A lot of these are pretty similar in a lot of the models. You can tell which ones they're trying to go away from. I see Sirius XM because you can use the app. 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot. I never used it. I don't want to pay for the $10 subscription when I have unlimited data. So some of these things are to Ford. They feel like they're the less of all evil. Hey, they're going to be mad about us about something, but I'd rather them to be mad not having the 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot or the auto start stop than for them to be mad because they don't have their vehicle.
Yep.
Right. F-150 auto start stop removal, active park assist 2.0 removal. Now that's just a park assist, so it still will have the other features as part of the package. Advanced security package, the intrusion inclination sensor removal. Heated steering wheel removal, but heated steering wheel can be retrofit, can be put back on later. They did say that. I did actually look up some of these. F-150 Lightning onboard scales and smart hitch removal. Won an award. Take it away. All right. Side view mirror, heated glass removal, heated steering wheel removal, the advanced security package with inclination intrusion sensor removal, and on the Platinums, the multi-contoured seat with active motion removal. Also, on the new order guide, they added phone as a key removal as a required option now. So if you have a F-150 Lightning 511A or Platinum, you will not have the phone as a key. It'll be removed. Now, the question is whether or not you'll get that as an update, because mine didn't have it when I received it, but it had an OTA update, and then I have it now, which I like. So, nice convenience feature there. So whether or not, I don't know yet because it wasn't in the order guide. It didn't mention that, whether or not that can be given to you as an OTA update or not. So,
Lydia asked, is the sliding window worth having in a Maverick?
It's manual on the
manual.
XLT and XL.
I wouldn't say so, just because it does remove, because you do have the line of the window, this where it's secured. And so you do have that line, so it does remove some visual there. But I personally wouldn't get it. Other people personally would. So I think it's just what you want.
My F-150, I use the power sliding, but if it was a manual sliding, I wouldn't use it.
No.
So, if that helps,
It depends on what you prefer.
Yep. Because you do have to get out, go back, open it up. So if you're already going and go, oh man, I was going to open the back glass, and you forgot, you can't reach back there.
Stephen Moss, it's all, how hard would it be to add new option of deployable running boards on my Ford Lightning? They weren't available at the time of ordering.
I don't think they're still available. So if you add it to your order, it just won't be looked at for scheduling until it's available.
Yeah.
Because I wanted that on mine. So I actually put it on my order, and then I saved it, and then it said that it was on constraint.
Yeah.
So I put it back the way it was on my order, just for that fact. So getting to the Maverick, 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot removal. That happened last year, so we knew about that. Added to the order guide this week was the 2 key fobs with perimeter alarm, 1 keyless entry fob, and 1 manual key fob. Required option. This is not available with remote start. and this is for the XL and XLT. So XL, you can't get remote start, but if you have an XLT luxury package, now I'd be adding the remote start if you want both key fobs to have the keyless entry.
Yes.
Because what's going to happen is the XLT will get one keyless entry key fob, and it'll get one manual key, unless you have the remote start. Then they won't. Both keys will get remote start. So that would be maybe a benefit of having the remote start if you have an XL luxury package. You have to go luxury package to get to add the remote start.
That's why we got the remote start.
So there you go.
Because Lebo wanted it.
Yep.
Says it's too cold to walk outside and start it.
So that might be a way around that, so your vehicle doesn't get built with only one remote keyless entry key fob and one manual key. So 23 Mustang, the only thing on that is the 4G Wi-Fi hotspot removal. The 23 Ranger, the same one, 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot removal, auto start stop removal, remote start required on the XLT 300 301A, which we actually mentioned that before. These aren't new. Halogen headlights and fog lights on the Lariat. That's also something I've talked about in the past. But recently they added the same wording on the key fob. Keyless entry key fob with a manual key on the XL 101A, but not yet. It says late availability. So again, probably once they once they get out of parts, then they'll make you add it. Yep. Also, they deleted the XL Power Equipment Group from the 100A fleet. So if you're ordering those as fleet, you can't get that. And then on the Super Duty, the only thing on there so far is a multi-contoured seat removal. So if you have a Platinum Limited, it won't have a multi-contoured seat.
Yep.
Maybe King Ranch. I'm done.
Okay.
That's all I have.
That's it.
Hopefully I didn't. Hopefully we still got people in here. Hey, fine. All right, we still do. I thought maybe we'd lose them all with all that stuff. But again,
I got a couple of questions.
All right, let's hear those questions.
Maverick converted order verified with dealer. It was converted to 23. Haven't heard anything since. I don't want to bug the dealer. In your mind, how often is too much to ask them questions? Weekly?
Every other week or so.
Yeah.
I mean, we have customers that, because it's always been that you contact a dealer to find out if you got scheduled. You've been able to order vehicles for years, and the only way that you could find out if your vehicle was scheduled for a production date was from the dealer.
Yeah.
You didn't get any emails from Ford. The dealers knew, and and so if you know they're going to be scheduled that week, and you think maybe yours might get scheduled. I would do it on a Friday. Mm-hmm. They usually schedule Thursday afternoon, and sometimes it's later than other weeks. So, Friday would be a good day.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Duke asks, what are the constraints on the Maverick? Same as they have been. Of course, we know hybrids a kind of a constraint in a sense. A lot of our orders had the NSP, which I still don't know what NSP stands for, but and somebody probably does. I have never looked into it, but it basically means here are the different things, the reasons why those orders aren't going to be looked at or scheduled that week.
Yeah.
And on the on a lot of those, we noticed the hybrid was on there, showing on there, as well as a lot of them mentioned the Hitch, even with the luxury packages. And then some like ours had the regional allocations. There were some other things on there that I didn't know, but.
Yeah.
Not scheduled for production.
Yep.
There you go. Thank you. See, I knew somebody.
Tim and Sarah, my Maverick XLT 23 is carbonized gray. The two-door 23 Bronco will be Sasquatch Eruption green or carbonized gray. Have you ever seen one in white? I've seen one Eruption green. Awesome color. So have we seen
white, a Bronco in white or Maverick?
The Bronco.
I've seen both. But I do work at a Ford dealer.
Yes.
Yeah, I have seen both. I'm not a huge fan of white, to be honest.
No, it always looks dirty, in my opinion.
I don't know.
But we also have a lot of people off-roading here.
But I'm also a big fan of blues.
I saw someone ask, when can I order my Maverick?
You can't.
2024.
Yeah. Next summer?
Maybe.
Get on people's list in May?
Yeah.
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 I know there's some dealers that are actually taking
Closed
they're
out.
already taking pre-orders
I wouldn't.
for that.
Who's to say they're going to build all of them this year and not,
Get in line.
be like, we aren't going to open orders next year like they did with Bronco this year.
Tim said 3 months already. Wow, go Ford Video Guy.
Yep.
Tim's the one I believe that we met.
You met
at Las Vegas. It was
You
a lot
met
of
in
fun.
Las Vegas. I did not go to Vegas.
Every time I do a trip, I'm gonna let people know I'm gonna be in the area, and
Yeah.
if members want to get together, definitely gonna do that. Anyway, what was I gonna talk about?
I don't know. You just pulled that up. I'm reading questions here. In watching your program, I decided to get an F450 instead of the F350 because I need a lot of options for towing a 40-foot fifth wheel. Was this a good decision?
You can get an F350 versus an F4.
He got an F450 instead of the F350 because he's towing a 45-foot fifth wheel.
How much does it weigh is the question. I mean, a lot of your F350 dualies, especially diesels, are going to handle, F450s will get you a lot of weight, but a lot of times an F350 can handle it all. So it just depends on the weight. So look at the, actually there is a guide. There's an RV and tow guide that is available on easily if you Google it, and it shows you the weights and what you would need. And so you might look at that. So Andrew, another $5 donation. Appreciate it. Says, once again, Tim and Sarah, keep up the good work. I missed Johnny's character last night. I was in a meeting. Eruption Green is the way to go. That is pretty killer. All right, I know what I was going to do. I was going to look up Vicky's order. I did look it up, Vicky. If you're still in there, she'd asked about her order. I did look it up the other day, and it was still saying the same thing. And I actually sent it off to our region. They said that I actually didn't get a response back. Was it something else?
No, Tim Johnson, you cannot get the Maverick with car plates. You have to get the truck plates.
It's a truck.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's classed as a truck, so you have to get the truck plates.
So, yeah, by the way, Vicky, your vehicle is still sitting at the ramp, and your ETA is November 20th. It's going to be here November 20th. Next year.
We did have someone else email us and say that theirs was built in that same time period that hers was, and they have not gotten any updates. So chance
it must be buried behind a bunch of vehicles.
It's a good chance that you are in the same boat as our dear Vicky here, that it's buried or it needs the recall done or there's something going on.
Actually, it does need the recall, but they're not doing it there. They're doing it at the dealer. We had one other one show up.
Okay, so maybe it's buried
because we had another one that showed up. We had another one that was built like the day after hers. It just showed up like a week ago, and we had to do the recall.
Maybe they kept them there hoping they could do it at the factory, and then they got buried, packed up in there, and now they're trying to get them out. I don't know. Who knows what they're thinking? We're not there.
Yeah. James says, hi, Tim. Have you seen any MAV come in with the Black Appearance package? Nope. We haven't received any 23s yet. By Christmas, we hope. Somewhere around that week, we have a couple that are supposed to be here, but they have not left the plant yet. They actually say the same thing that Vicky's does, Ramp 54. I want to know where that Ramp 54 is. Go down there. Austin also said, any insights into what the reduced capacity might entail on the B&O? I don't. I've got a 23 Bronco Sport Outer Banks being built. Right now, it's not being put on there yet. System option. Also, we probably need to look at the window sticker to see what it says. And said, wait a minute, you said actually say being built 1215 and have B&O sound system option also shows on my window sticker. So yeah, so if it is actually an option that they'll need to add to it. So it'll be it's considered an option, but the option is called removal. And so if you don't see that option on there right now, it's going to be built with the regular B&O audio sound system. So again, these aren't all like going into play yet to be required. It's only if it's not available. So they want to have an order guide with an option number so that they can continue getting production instead of having to update the order guide, then become available with an option number and everything, and that can take some time. So that's why they want to have it ahead of time in case they have to do that. Yeah. Believe it or not, on the Maverick, the 22 Mavericks, they actually added the option for the keys for one keyless entry key, but they never had to do it. It was added to the order guide, and it said if they have an issue, then they have it available. But they finished 22 production without having to add that option on any of the vehicles. So it may not happen. So it's just they're being proactive here on these. John donated $2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
If the truck is shipped from Long McArthur's dealership, what is the process, and do they ship right to your home? So if you have your vehicle, if you purchase from Long McArthur, it gets, and you're having it shipped to us to then have it shipped to you, we put your truck up, your truck. We put out there that we need it shipped, and it gets bid on by multiple shippers or whoever can take it from our location to that location. Usually we have to wait for someone that's also picking something up in that area. So that way they are continually making money, not just taking something there and dry hauling back. But they will meet you at your home, or if you choose, you can choose a local place. I've heard of other dealerships or Walmart parking lots as options.
Because some of the car haulers are a 6-car hauler when they need a lot of room.
Yes.
So, all right. Couple questions. John asked, can a Maverick pull a fifth wheel? No.
No.
And I'm sure he was just joking. And also, Vol said, are the Lightning and Mach-E's the only OTA updates? No. Basically, if you have a Sync 4, it has OTA. So it has over-the-air updates as well. So a lot of the F-150s, in 21, they said that they were getting hardwired with the Blue Cruise on some of those vehicles, and once they do the update, then they would update those, and so they were using the OTAs as well.
Yeah.
So anything with a Sync 4 or Sync 4A has OTAs.
Yep. Sambo Joe. It seems that the private offer is being applied either before or after tax modifier, depending on your particular state. It actually, it might be that trend, but it's supposed to be before tax. Right?
If they end up putting the offer in as a rebate, then it'll be taxed, and then the rebate, and then it would come off. Some states can, since it doesn't actually use the word rebate, they could put it on and taxes they might deduct that and then take taxes.
Okay.
So, and I don't know because I don't work in finance much.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Vols actually mentioned that his was carried on a 2-car trailer. So what sometimes will happen is it depends on the people we work with. Some people are individuals that have like a 2-car, 3-car hauler. Some people just a 1, and they'll just pick up, take yours, and they'll find a job close to you, go to the next place, and they'll do it that way. Some people actually do 2 and 3, and then some people use a 3.
Yes, some of those 6, they'll pick up one here, pick one up on the way, and then pick up 5 more on the way to you. So it really does depend.
Tim, another $5 donation, as well as Kevin Sampson. So thank you both for donations. And speaking of plates, is there a way to request not to drill holes into the front bumper for mine and my father-in-law? What we're doing right now is if it is a sold vehicle that comes in, he's not putting plates on unless it's requested.
So if you have your order with us,
make sure your salesperson, we'll make sure that they don't put the plate on.
But if you're another dealer, make sure that your salesman knows that you don't want that.
Yep. And his father-in-law's has been scheduled already.
Yes. That's right. You have both of yours with us. I remember placing that.
Yeah.
I placed that order.
All right. You have any questions?
Yes. With how Ford is doing waves for 23 Lightnings, are they trying to schedule every order from one wave before sending out another wave? How many allocations factor into this?
That's their goal. Their goal is to send an invite out once they order, to be able to, your order gets scheduled and built within 2 to 3 months. Yep. So they're trying, that's why the invites are going out that way. And they're really going to don't forget too, they're ramping up the production this next summer. So they're hoping by next summer they're going to be able to build even more. And so that's most of the Lightnings will get built this next summer, they said, and get scheduled. So it's just, right now it's sporadic and small numbers, and but they usually schedule out just real close in the future. In fact, we had one person ordered, and within the day after they submitted their order, they got scheduled. So it was crazy. But it also depends on what you order. Again, even on the Lightning, it can be affected. So if you do put that power boards on your Lightning and they're not available, then they may not get produced.
Okay.
Did you see that we have Niles in here?
Yes, I did.
Niles joined us. Now this is from aftermarket, so
If you have an aftermarket question, he's there to help you out.
go. Well, we'll just sit back.
What is the average time from actually built till actual ship for a 23 Bronco with the present rail situation?
All right, what's the question? Let's read this.
What is the average time from actually built till actually shipped for 23 Bronco? We haven't seen that timeline yet.
It's it.
Because we haven't gotten any 23 Broncos yet.
We have two.
We have two.
We got two.
We have two.
And they do have the.
Okay.
I was watching the All Train Nation last night, and they were talking about. They were showing that, just like with the Mavericks, they were taking. If you had the climate control that had the temperature control, they had the temperature number on there, and
Yeah.
they changed it to just a little thermostat icon, so you couldn't see it. They did the same thing to the Bronco, but the 23 that we have, actually it's right up front outside here. It actually has the temperature on it, so they went back to that. So evidently they got supplies back in on those. So
Okay.
anyway. So,
I've forgotten. Was XLT Mav keypad an add-on? Not if you have Lariat.
keypad. Keypad is standard on XLT.
It's standard on XLT.
Pretty sure.
I thought it was an add-on with my Lariat.
Order
with
guide.
my X.
Look it up. Great learning experience. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's standard on an
I'm
XLT.
pretty sure it's not.
The debate is on. Who's right?
Let's see.
You do remember what I tend to do, right? I usually won't say it unless I'm pretty sure.
No. But I'm pretty sure about this too.
Alright.
All right. On XLT?
Yes. XLT. So it would be, you go down, keep going. So you're going to be looking at the additions, add-ons, right there. What's that one right there? Hate to be right. It is standard on XLT. It's an upgraded
Okay.
option when you go from XL to XLT.
All right.
Can't get the king.
I have before
Yeah,
though.
not 100%. How many lightnings fit on a trailer? Martin said.
6?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they were all, he's saying because of weight, because of the batteries. I'd assume that it could handle all 6.
Well, I mean,
but-
I've seen them put
I haven't-
multiple Super Duties on one
Oh,
truck.
we've seen it. They actually have pictures in Detroit where they were loading them on the trains, and they also had some trucks there that were going to Michigan, and they had 6 on a truck.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can put. Yeah, I guess they could still.
I mean,
handle
I've
the
seen
weight.
them put like what 5 or so
Well,
Super Duties on the truck.
Yeah, probably not any heavier than a Super Duty, and we've seen at least 3-4 Super Duties on a trailer before. So
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
it true Lincoln dealerships will shrink from 600 to 300 nationwide?
probably. We're just laughing because we'll see what happens, but
Yep, we'll
we're debating. We're
Yep.
debating whether or not we're going to keep Lincoln. But anyway, they're basically they're cutting back down, and their goal is the Midwest isn't getting shafted.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hate to say it that way, but they want to focus in on the big metro areas and your East Coast, West Coast. So East Coast, West Coast, enjoy your light Lincolns, and if you're in the Midwest, hope you might buy out of state.
Yeah. Is the wiring still pre-installed when you don't order the hitch on the Maverick? No.
No.
No. And that's the trouble with getting the hitch aftermarket. It's the wiring, not the actual hitch.
They're trying to use the wiring that's there for, like, if you get, like the XLT luxury package where you get the bed lighting and
Yep.
such, the wiring is going back there, and so that wiring works. But vehicles that don't have the luxury package, you want the hitch added, that wiring's already headed back there. I think they're trying to go into the plugging for the
Yeah.
taillights. But I don't know. Hopefully somebody comes up with a fix on that,
Yeah.
or at least forward something.
Okay,
Hopefully-
I lost my place. All right, there we go. I think I go to move my thing, and you guys have ask a question right as I move it, and it takes me all the way to the bottom. Lydia Boyle, I assume you're talking about the Maverick. Carbonized gray was a 23 color option. Yes.
All right, and Jerry said in here, he said there's is there a transmission shortage for the hybrid? I think it's more of a motor than a transmission issue, but I don't know, because it does have it's a different motor, transmission, and battery system, so it's one of those. I don't know if Ford's actually. From I was told it's because they couldn't make enough motors, not necessarily transmissions, but it could be motor and transmission combined.
Gary Jones says, someone told me that you can order a 24 Maverick in June. I would say that there's no truth to that. No. Maybe. They
do not.
No.
They don't have any of that information yet.
No.
So
we probably won't hear anything until June.
We won't even hear anything
July.
until probably spring. When we see job 2 on the Maverick, that's when we'll see that. And for some of you that don't know, when it comes to production, they have a job 1 and a job 2. So if there's any like changes they feel like they need to make in between that they need to make to a vehicle, they'll make some significant changes, and that'll be job 2. So kind of like they did even on the Maverick, that the climate, I keep thinking about that, is it had the temperature on it. Like XLT had the dual zone climate on the luxury package and such. Then you had the climate on there. So job 2, they changed that to have just a little temperature icon instead. That was a job 2 change, which they didn't put on the order guides anywhere and didn't tell anybody until they started showing up.
Yeah.
So that's some. If they need to make any significant changes, they try to do it in job 2.
We have not seen any. The Maverick black appearance package constraints.
Other than media guides, we have. Oh, is there a constraint? Well, the capacity is 10%, which I actually have every week I'll have information on capacity versus orders. If anybody ever wants any questions on any of those, and actually somebody asked about the Bronco and a question to me about it, and I have some information on that. But the black appearance package is 10% capacity, but they have less orders than that. So black appearance package, they're calling it sport appearance. All right, so their capacity is that they can build 10% of the vehicles be a black appearance package, and the orders that they have is 8%. So they are well within their capacity. So, but it will take longer for them to schedule because it's 10%. So, not all of the black appearance package will get scheduled right away because they can only make 10% of the vehicles that way. So, if that makes any sense. So.
Rick and Kelly says that Farley needs to personally deliver Vicky's Maverick.
Yeah. It's taking a while.
And
we don't, there's nothing I can do. I've reached out to everybody. I have one person I'm going to try to reach out this week and see if it works, because it's inventory specialist who we're supposed to contact is not getting us any results. So, plus, I think it's just because there's so many others in the same situation as that one. We have all the Lightnings. We have 5 Lightnings sitting on hold right now at the plant too. Now, they weren't built in July. They were just built this fall. But, my assumption is too, as they get the 22s out, hopefully they won't release the 23s before all of the 22s are released. So that's my hope, since we're at the end of production for the 22s, is that Vicky's will get sent out before they send out any 23s.
Hopefully.
But that's not always the case, because we have actually, Andrew, another donation. Thank you very much. We have seen 23s show up while they're still sending out 22s.
Yep.
We just received our first 23 F-150s recently, and Broncos. And so it's hard to tell. I know how many actually, we have 5 Mavericks left to be delivered to us. So Dick is one of those.
Yeah, as soon as we get a 23 Maverick in that we have permission to video, we will video it. We will do that. I think.
And technically, until they reach out to them, it's ours. So we'll get a video. We'll do something.
I think the first ones that are getting delivered, we actually know some of those people. So
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Can we add heated and ventilated seats to the Maverick?
Heated as part of the luxury package?
Well, can we add it aftermarket?
I don't know if anybody. I don't know if anybody makes the ventilated. You can get leather added. We have an F-150 that has the perforated leather that we had custom made for those F-150s. So perforations can be done. The heated, well, here, we got Niles right in here. Aftermarket can add it.
Yeah.
Even ventilated.
Okay. Good to know, Niles. Thank you.
Forgot we had the specialist in the house.
Yes. Not ventilation, but we can add heat.
Heat. That's what I
Okay.
did. Can you add cooled? Because cooled and ventilated are two different things.
Yes.
So cooled seats is they actually have an agent under there that actually cools it off, but it leaves condensation on the floor, which is why Ford went away from that. Ventilation actually pulls the air through the perforations in the seat to cool it off.
Yes. Yes.
But I got a feeling I know the answer to that too. So
Please answer the credit back on increase. Are you, Lydia, I'm assuming you're talking about the Maverick. Has there been was there a price increase on Maverick?
nope.
No. Okay, so you're probably talking from the 22 to 23 increase. If you have a rollover, then you will get your private offer. If you have a canceled order, during 23, you will get a private offer. If your vehicle is getting delivered and you're still getting the 22, you will get price protection. So I'm not sure exactly how you want me to talk about it. So, but those are the three options for that price increase, price protection type stuff.
Yeah.
We went into detail about it last week.
Yeah.
Last week's live.
Vicky, I know you're one of the 5, so you're on my list. So 3 out of the 5 are actually been shipped out. Yours and one others is still at that ramp. So yours is not the only one at the ramp waiting to come, but yours has been there longer than anybody else's that we have. So that's for sure.
Kevin, yes, you can ask for them to leave this front license plate in the truck, even though your state requires it.
Yeah.
I assume that you don't want the holes drilled to have that put in, and you want to try putting it on with different
Yep. So,
alternatives.
yeah.
So,
So what Tony's our guy that does that.
Yeah.
He doesn't put any of the front license plate brackets
Yeah.
on.
he says his state requires the front plate,
Yeah,
but he won't put it on.
Since our state doesn't, Tony doesn't put it on
Yeah.
unless it's a stock vehicle.
Yes.
So he only puts them on stock vehicles. On anything that's not, if it's a sold order, and he can tell which ones are. He's not putting on any of those. He'll usually come and ask the salesperson, "Hey, do we want that put on or not?" Before doing it. So
Yeah.
you'll just want to make sure you tell your salesperson and let him know so that they can make note in your file, not to do that. So, but a lot of times he won't without permission. So. Anything else?
DMC Graw Bicycle Guy. Hi Tim, it was nice meeting you when I picked up my Maverick. Hot chili pepper red. Lariat truck thanks to MJ and all of his work. When do I get my cookies?
It's supposed to be a surprise. Y'all are spoiling it in here.
Usually they send those out when they send the title. They send a sheet over to our lady that gets those sent out, and when the title gets arrives here at the dealership.
Well, when the deal gets to
Nope, it's when the title gets here, because that pink sheet means
Oh.
that the title has been sent.
okay.
Yes. Okay. I'm looking for questions. Usually he's answering, and I answered the last 2. Speaking of plates, yep, we read that one.
What is the constraint of Maverick Lariat Lux package versus those ordered with such package? With those ordered without such package, you mean? So Lariat Luxury package, so that, I mean, that has all the bed accessories. I mean, you should know, everything. I have videos on what's included in that package, but
Yeah.
maybe the reason it might be more constrained is, some of the things that need to be put in the bed and such like
Yeah.
that. So it's more about timing than probably parts, but some of it could be parts that it needs. Others, it could be because of the time it takes, because any of the every vehicle that gets a luxury package, so what we see in the vehicle visibility is we see a vehicle get sent to the plant and then it gets produced. and it didn't say produce, it'll say body shop. And the body shop is actually where they paint it. And then we see trim, and that's where they actually put it together. And then we see the body company,
Yes.
and that's where it's completely built, and then they send that over to another place to put everything on. Well, that takes time. So they can only do so many of those because of the time it takes. So that's why it's constrained.
Yep. What's in the Fitz package that I'm supposed to get with my Maverick? I can actually answer that one.
Go ahead.
You get the trash can connector. You get, what's that called? The cup holders. You get the cup holders, the trash can. There's like a little Ford symbol that you can put in any of those Fitz slots.
And then your dividers.
And yes, the dividers, which I don't use
For the
because
storage area.
I don't get storage access.
Because you can't get to the storage with 2 car seats in. Awesome.
Nope. So I use the trash can. I actually bought the Fitz package so I could use the trash can. Okay, where on the window sticker do I find the build date? I have a build week of December 5th.
That's a good question. I don't know.
He doesn't know.
I don't know. There's a lot of numbers on there, and I think there's some numbers at the very bottom of the window sticker in the middle.
Yes.
I think that's your build date of when it's supposed to be built, but
Yeah. Which
I guess I've had a lot of vehicles custom ordered, and I've never really kind of been that. I guess it's just,
Yeah.
it is what it is to me. It'll get to me when it
Yeah.
can, but
Are 23 Mavericks still having bed rails? The pics of my truck on Ford email shows them on bed. So are you asking if the 23 Mavericks are still getting the bed rails?
that is actually optional now.
Yes.
Even on the XL, you can get it added to the vehicle as part of the luxury package of last year, the XLT or the Lariat. But the rail system that go on the side, that is optional equipment now on those. So you can add it as optional equipment. So
Yeah.
gives you the same amount of tie downs on the XLT and Lariats, but now just one can slide.
Yeah.
So that's $225 if you add it, optional equipment for you. So Rachel said Tim doesn't have an answer.
Yeah. Vols says, does your dealership still drop ship with dedicated Long McArthur transporters? I actually don't think we have dedicated Long McArthur transporters.
You're talking
anymore.
about drop ship or shipping? So
Shipping. Oh,
because didn't you say drop ship?
yeah. You said drop ship.
So drop ship is done by Ford. So basically what drop ship means is that if you order from us, but you live in California and you don't want to forgo the shipping from here to California because it's expensive, then you can have it drop ship from Ford to the closest dealership. First of all, for that to happen is the dealership has to be willing to do that for us. They're doing it for us. And they'll charge us to do that. Basically, they're going to inspect it. They should clean it, and they should then hand off the keys to a person.
Yes.
When they started doing that, it was for businesses where maybe the headquarters was in one location, and they're the ones that bought the vehicle, and they worked with the local dealership there. But the person, the sales rep or whatever, lived in another area of the country, and so that's why they created the drop ship. And so most of your drop shippers and the people that handle that at your dealership are usually your fleet managers, and that's who does ours. And that's how that started. So that's something to keep in mind, and that's how that works. So you have to know that they're willing to do it. We have to have their dealer codes so that when you order the vehicle before it gets scheduled, we have that dealer code so they know where it's supposed to go once it's shipped out. But the other problem that we've come into is, just like some of you realize that there's not all dealerships are good dealerships to work with. On drop ships, we found that to be the case as well. So that's why sometimes they call them a drop ship. The dealers call it a drop ship. To the customers, they call it courtesy delivery. And I actually coined the phrase, non-courtesy delivery, because sometimes they have not been the nicest. We've had vehicles that were being drop shipped, and that dealership didn't even clean them. So they left them with all the plastic and dirt and everything on them, and didn't vacuum it out. They didn't they didn't even set it up. Just a terrible experience with that. and they're like, okay, here you go, here's your keys. And that's, I mean, it is not their job to show you how to use the vehicle at all. It is just to hand the vehicle off to you. But they are, because their service department is getting paid to get a vehicle delivery inspection as well as get a clean. It is their job. And I think it's supposed to be filled full of gas as well. So all three of those things are supposed to happen, and sometimes those dealerships won't do that, and they still get paid for it because they get paid from Ford to do that inspection and such, that setup. But
Hags Films says breaking news. Sounds like Maverick 23 January builds are being pushed. Emails received as you're doing your show on the Maverick Truck Club post. Any inside info on this?
they're getting pushed back.
Yeah, the January build dates are being pushed back. We hadn't heard anything, so he's gonna look at that while I go on to the next one.
Let's see if any of we had a couple members up there.
I'm glad you like your ceramic bowls. Lebo does do a great job.
I don't see any emails. Of course, we wouldn't receive an email from Ford unless I'm tagged on any of them.
Yeah.
And none of our members that have been scheduled. But I guess those were the, well, hey, let's just do this. Let's go into WebDo. Not on the screen. Don't want to get in trouble.
Oh, where was I?
Let's look up these canceled orders. This will be easy because the only ones that have priority 2 are those canceled orders, and those are the ones that got scheduled for January build dates. So this will be very easy to be able to see. I would be surprised because the way they scheduled them, they were all hybrids that they scheduled, that I wouldn't really be that shocked if they got moved back a little bit before scheduling. So they're moving them around right now, and they schedule on Thursday. So that makes sense, and that might be why we don't have any that are previewing. I don't know, or just could be because.
Yeah.
So let's look at the priority 2s. Just look at some of these, and I actually don't know. Let me pull up my document that shows that. Any other questions?
Yes, Jeff, they still build Lincolns. Not like they used to, but they still build them.
Some people say better.
Now, if you talk to Lebo.
Well, he's kind of weird.
3 town cars.
Old town cars.
92s.
All right,
and
let's look
91.
at these here. Some of these orders and what the build dates were. Where's my... I need to make this a little wider. There we go. All right, let's look up a couple of these.
You saw that
P872 is right here.
Let's see if I can find
It had 116. That one didn't move. I'm not seeing ours moving yet. There's 116. Check KO69 to see if built date changed. Well, they're saying January ones, and I think that one. Say K. KO69, yeah, because you had it scheduled in December. They said the January ones were the ones being. And thank you for the donation too, by the way.
Yes.
All right, but yeah, that one there was scheduled for December, and they're saying the January ones got moved back. So, but I can look it up, but I have to change this.
Okay.
It's a different party.
VINs you've shown had no X in them. This VIN, and it looks like it has 4 X's at the end.
They just don't want to give us that
okay.
The ending.
Okay. There you go.
So
they just don't want to give you the ending of that VIN.
Yeah, that's why the VIN won't have 5 X's. They just didn't want you to have the full VIN.
Yep.
So
Ford put global wiring on their trucks now to simplify builds at the plant, being every truck has every wire needed for every option.
Well, we had that one that came in that did not have the hitch, and the wiring isn't there. They had to get the wiring connected. So,
yeah,
most of I know on a lot of the F-150s, like on the F-150s, they'll come with the pre-wiring, the 4-pin wiring and trailer sway control, And so the wiring is already there
Yeah.
to add the hitch. But on the Maverick, it is not the case. At least that's what I was told.
Yeah.
Niles might be able, if he's still in here, he might be able to tell us that.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that was telling me that on those vehicles. So
Marjan, we had not discussed priority codes. So I think you had asked.
nope. Tim, yours is KO69 is still scheduled. Actually, did move back a couple days. It's scheduled for 12/23. A couple more days and be billed on Christmas.
Let's see, Marjan. Here we go. I asked my sales agent about my priority code and how they were allocated. Here's the reply I got. I did some digging. Priority codes change when scheduling occurs. The clients who now have the 10 and 11 codes, those cars have the parts readily accessible and available. Once yours gets scheduled, the priority code will flip too. So to answer your question, everyone starts with a priority 19. Yours hasn't flipped yet because we have a higher trim level model and it's a hybrid, which is in greater demand.
That would have been a great, is it true? That would have been a great, it's true.
not-
I don't mean to laugh,
No, but
that's, yeah, again, that's, it's a salesperson or manager that is not giving the right information. So that is not correct. So that is a nice, is it true? That we could have saved for next week. But,
well, I told Marjan I would mention it today.
yes. So basically, the dealership can choose 10 to 19, right? We, if you guys have been watching me, you know this already. 10 to 19, and so that dealership's saying that when you put it as a 19, and then when it gets closer and they have parts, then Ford changes it to a 10. I think they're confused that it's a 2. But 2 usually means that a vehicle was looked at for scheduling and you got allocations for it. Because last year we saw a lot of O2s. But so anyway, Niles said he is on his way out. He says good night. Hey, real quick, Niles, if you haven't left yet, I don't know if you heard the question earlier. Someone said that the wiring was already there for all vehicles.
For all trucks.
For all trucks, that the wiring's already there.
Global wiring.
So maybe you could tell us whether or not that's true, because you had told me that we added a hitch to a vehicle without a hitch, and the wiring wasn't, you weren't able to connect the wiring up and get it connected without throwing a bunch of codes. So maybe he can answer that question. So anyway, but most trucks, I know F-150s are that
Yeah.
way. Super Duties are that way. In fact, Super Duties already come with the hitches
Yeah.
anymore as standard equipment. But
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that dealership didn't. To go back to that,
Yeah.
that's totally incorrect on what they said. They don't move down from 10 to 19. The dealership can move those around from 10 to 19. It's under 10 that only the region can do. And we won't probably see a lot of the O2s like last year. Last year we saw that because of that. So, all right. So Niles did answer that. It says global wiring for the F-150 is correct. For the Maverick, I don't believe that to be correct. I think they're missing it. So, because we did have one, like I said, mentioned earlier. Thank you, Niles, by the way, and have a good night. We did mention that earlier that they were trying to add the hitch to a vehicle. They could add the hitch, but not the wiring, without throwing a bunch of codes. So it was the wiring, the 4-pin wiring was not there. They had to add it. So.
Yep.
All right.
Tim, please remember I'm one of the 5 canceled order.
Yeah. Saw that.
Before signing the change order for canceled, can I change color? So those ones that got canceled, can they change their color?
Yes. You can change your color even after it gets scheduled.
Up until
a certain time. So if yours gets scheduled and they say, hey, it got scheduled and it just gets scheduled, that would be the perfect time to make that change. I've mentioned in the past some vehicles we've been able to make some changes to, but again, it really depends. One of the things that could affect that is if you add something that you forgot to add, like let's say if you try to do the hitch, which I recommend you not do that. Just because we don't know whether or not it'll take. What they could do is could say, nope, we're not going to do that. And so then if that was something you were counting on, that, hey, I'm going to order it without it so it can get scheduled, and then have you add it afterwards once it gets scheduled, and then the factory says, nope, we can't accept it, then you're kind of, they're going to build it that way.
Yeah.
So if you're banking on that, just add it beforehand.
Yep.
But that's what I suggest. I mean, there's some times where it can be done, and earlier in production it's easier for it to do because I will say this, like Jolie's order, we added that package on.
Yeah.
It moved hers back. So it stayed scheduled and it did take it, which I was surprised that it did, but it moved her date back. I mean, she moved way back. She's now scheduled she was one of the first ones scheduled, and she's moved back to almost Christmas, that week of Christmas.
Yeah.
Or the week, technically the week leading up to Christmas or whatever, but
Yep.
she was scheduled for like 12/5 and she got moved
Yeah.
back like 2 weeks. So,
Yeah.
wow, another
Thank you,
donation,
Donald.
Wow. And we have a new member, John Smith. I did see that as well.
Yes.
So thank you.
Avalanche Gray. Is that one that you can get on
Only on Tremor.
only on Tremor? Yes.
Only on Tremor.
Yes. What is constraint of Maverick Lariat Lux package versus those ordered with such package?
Okay, we have to,
Yes.
kind of talked about that earlier, but the Lariat Luxury Package is constrained to 25%. Without it, it wouldn't be constrained unless it's a hybrid. So, yeah.
Yep.
So, like, if you look at it that way, is the constraint on a non-luxury one would be 45%, technically.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're going to, 30% for the XLT luxury, 25% for Lariat luxury. That leaves 45% for the rest.
Yeah.
So,
I'm looking away. Driving a Bronco enough to use the Albertsons fuels reward before they expire. Oh, are you still driving the Bronco enough to use the fuel rewards before they expire?
no.
In fact, they called me and they're like, "Hey, do you need gas? We have rewards points. Go use them.
Go get your town cars. Go get your C-Mags.
Go get the Lightning. Fill them all up."
Lightning. Oh yeah, your old Lightning. It's like Lightning. I don't need to fill up. I
My
didn't charge it up
01
today.
supercharged.
All right.
I'm trying to find another one. There's a lot of chatter. In your opinion, which looks better on Maverick? Cactus Gray or Iconic Silver?
I like the Cactus Gray because I feel like it's a deeper, richer color than the Iconic Silver is. Iconic Silver is metallic, but
Yes.
that Cactus Gray it looks.
I wouldn't choose either one. I would choose Avalanche Gray or what I have, Area 51. But Cactus Gray if I had to choose between only those two colors.
I'm not a huge fan of the silvers, although I used to be. But certain grays, like carbonized gray, I'm not a fan of carbonized gray. My dad's truck is carbonized gray. But I like when they had the lead foot. I really like that. It was
Yeah.
really rich, deep.
I did
gray.
like that one. That was a nice deeper color.
Yep.
How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Have you all seen or heard from any other dealerships of any of the Tremor appearance packages Mavericks being scheduled yet? So we didn't have very many with appearance package.
What appearance package?
The Tremor appearance package.
Oh yeah, we had very few that ordered it.
Yeah. We didn't get it.
Ford's number is saying 0%, which means it's less than 1. So, actually, here I can look in Webdo. You see, what's easy about that is I can look that up because I can select to narrow it down. Okay, so we're looking at 23, and if you're looking for that package, we can go to W8G, which gives me all the Tremors and Tremor appearances. And then at that point, I look for... Oh, it's not showing the second trim color. Oh, that. I guess not. So on some of them, you can actually export out. And here, let me keep this. I did. Okay, here we go. So there is a second paint color, primary paint and paint 1. So that would be all of ours. So let's scroll down. I could have just like sorted by that. Do we have any? I know we have at least one that was ordered.
Clayton Allsberg. Tim did address that earlier about the hitch. The hitch is still a constraint, but you probably, if you need it to tow, you probably want to leave it on due to the wiring. But if you rewind
We have 6.
to earlier, and he does talk about it there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're not able to get we actually have one we're trying to put a hitch on now, and they can't get the wiring to work without throwing a bunch of other codes and everything. So
Yeah.
right now we can't get one. And there's an aftermarket wiring available by Kurt. In the description, there's a link to it, but it would not be. They will not cover it under warranty. So even Kurt won't cover the wiring if you put it on
Yeah.
there. So if something happens, you have any electrical issues, you're on your own. You're going to have to get it fixed and pay for it yourself. The warranty will not cover it. We had, what did I just say, 6? I think we have 6 with the Tremor appearance package out of our 42.
Yep. What are the chances for delivery of my 23 Bronco Sport before Christmas with a build week of December 5th?
0%.
Yeah.
It usually is about a month after it's built.
Yeah.
After it's finished building. So if you have a build day of the 5th and it gets built that day, it's 4 weeks after that. So it'd be into January.
Yep. I'm worried for those who might see my canceled order marked up. The dealership I ordered from is prone to markups. Yeah.
Try to hedge that now. So, I mean, talk to him now. Hey,
Well, he canceled his order,
oh,
and he's worried the dealership's going to sell it for a markup.
well,
That's on the dealer. That's not on you.
Yeah, if the vehicle has been scheduled and it comes in, there are some dealers just like we could if we wanted to. When people cancel, we've had some people that have canceled their 23 order, and we could keep the order. Once that order's in there, we can keep it when it comes in. It becomes available, and we can sell it for market if we want to. That's technically Ford isn't selling to the customer; they're selling to the dealer. The dealer sells to the customer that ordered with them. So because of that, we can sell it for whatever we want. What we're doing though is we want to help all of our customers that ordered with us. They put their trust in us to get their order, and so what we're doing is if somebody cancels with us, we're canceling their order so that somebody else can get scheduled. So.
Yep. I have a 23 XL EcoBoost on order to be scheduled. Oh, we read that. Okay. If we don't answer your question right away, it's not that I'm skipping over it. I am backed up. I'm
kind of looking at the more recent on here,
Yeah.
and she's kind of scrolling through so we can get anything that we
because
might miss.
I still haven't reached. I just passed our new member notice in the chat, so we will get to you.
Backtrack while you do that, then I'll try to meet in the middle.
Okay.
And actually, I haven't seen any for a little while. So
Yeah.
anyway,
I'm looking for the McArthur and Sarah Ridgeview.
oh, here's one Duke has. It says I have a 23 XL EcoBoost on order with a scheduled build date of December 5th. It went into production a few days ago. Oh, this is a built. Do you think it will be built this week? Also, I have a VIN. If it has a build week of the 5th, it should get built sometime this week we're in. Yeah. It should, unless it got moved back on you, which could have happened.
See, I'm trying to do this, but it keeps doing this. Oh, there we go. What time will Friday members video be at? 4 p.m. or 5 p.m.? 4. Central Standard Time.
Oh, for those on the podcast, 4. I keep forgetting that. It's like, oh. All right.
The Friday members video?
Yeah. Remember you can help me with
Yeah.
the live?
Yeah. It's at 4.
4.
Our time.
Yeah. 4 our time. And of course, you can watch it after that. If you remember.
All right, I'm at the bottom. Yes, I have seen a Maverick and Avalanche Gray. We got to see one at the Detroit Car Auto Show. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
We got to see a Tremor.
Yep.
It was gorgeous.
Yep. I consider it really close to Cactus Gray myself, but more on the instead of more of the greenish shade. What do you consider it? More of the
It's
white?
like an off-white. So it's more gray, than cactus gray.
Yeah.
But also it's not.
You think of an avalanche and snow and gray. So
Or
they're
like-
pretty accurate to that.
Yeah, off-white walls.
White gray. It's white gray.
Off-white walls that have a slight gray tint to them. A very, very, very light gray with white. I don't know. My cup.
You should search.
My cup.
That might be pretty close.
This is pretty close.
You should search F-150 Raptor Avalanche.
Yeah.
Because it actually was out in 2017, 16. Yeah. I did actually a video on a one in Avalanche in our picture building. But the lights probably weren't as good as they are now.
Were you ever a drummer? When you hit the desk, we hear you drum.
Her brother was, and her husband was.
Yep, my husband and my brother. Let's see. Oh, Z says that we should use Google Forms or something like it to help keep track of questions. Are you thinking like have a Google Forms set up that people can go and enter, and then I'm on Google Forms and I'm reading off those questions? That?
Some people may not.
Yeah.
Good idea. But
it is a good idea, but some people might
not want to go over to that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that might take them out of that. If you're on a phone, it would take you out of the app.
I watch a lot of live streams on my phone, so. But then again, you've seen my
His
phone.
phone is different. Your phone
seen my
doesn't
phone?
count. Your phone doesn't count.
Anyway.
Okay.
All right.
I'm caught up. What is ramp CH02 for the 23 Lightning? Is that just chip hold?
No, I don't know.
Not at ramp
Could be
51 or
CH
53.
chip hold
Limited
02.
25.
It could be.
Oh, see that instead of a ramp, it's saying CH02.
It could be.
Yeah. How is the new blue replacing velocity? Have we seen? Yes, we have on Escapes, right?
Atlas Blue.
Atlas Blue.
Yeah, Atlas
It's pretty.
Blue. We have Atlas Blue on Escape, F-150.
It's extremely close to velocity, just slightly darker. It's not as bright, which is why I didn't get velocity blue, is because it was so bright. But my husband wants it on
Actually,
his.
I think Atlas Blue. I like it better than Velocity.
Yeah.
It's a darker blue.
It has a little bit more depth, even though it's the metallic. Mahathi says Google Forms is not a good solution. All right. If you have a vote, would Eruption Green be a color of choice for the 24 Maverick?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm really confused why it's been built the same plant as the Bronco Sport, which you can get Eruption Green in, but you can't get it in that. That kind of throws me a little bit. I really thought it would be available, just like it is on the Bronco Sport.
Yeah.
But I'm a little disappointed it's not. So, but you can't get Avalanche in the Bronco Sport either.
That's right.
So I guess
So
it is what it is. Right?
specific for the model.
How many grays does Ford need? I agree, Joey.
You know, they have all these
Great.
colors, you know, Avalanche Gray,
What is it,
Cactus Gray,
Lincoln or
Area
something?
51. I actually came across one vehicle when I was in high school, when I was working here. It was a Focus, and the color just said blue. Ford always has a cute name for each vehicle, for each color, but this one was just blue. And I've never seen that on a sticker since.
All right. Somebody wants me to check the order, make sure we didn't
C14H.
accidentally cancel it.
We will make sure. The outside would look against the blue inside. Yes, that would be really cool to
It's
see.
still there. C14H.
I would like to see that too. I want to see all these
And just
color
to show
combos.
proof that it is here, I'll tell you what you have on it. You have the Lariat Hybrid and carbonized gray with nothing added. Boy, that's gonna schedule quick. That's gonna schedule quick. As soon as we get through these ones from the leftover ones,
Yep.
that will schedule quick. Especially you even ordered on the first day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
you're gonna schedule quick. It's in there.
All right. I mean, I have.
We're cut up.
Yeah.
Got Chris, a member, is in there. Came in, popped in. Appreciate it. All right.
I have these emails, but I can answer them.
Yep. And another thing, if you do, you can actually email us. If we've had people do that said, hey, could you answer this on the live stream?
Yes.
And so if you want to email it to the FordVideoGuy
Yep.
Gmail, then we can say, hey, I'd like to have
Yeah.
this question answered on the live stream. We can make sure we have that done. Also, too, if you didn't feel like you got all these in, sometimes people will come over to the Facebook one live because there's less people in there. Like we normally have 400 or 500 people in here on Tuesday nights, and there's a lot of chatter. And I like that you guys are just talking amongst each other and such. I heard them. I think they were talking about baseball or something in there earlier.
Yes, we were.
And so, and I like that. So sometimes we have to try to filter through and try to find the questions in that. That's why we ask you to tag at Law McArthur or at Sarah Davis, because when she's logged in, she's using her account. So, if you tag her, then it pops up orange and
We
lets
like
us know.
the chatter of the members.
So,
we see the membership as a community, not just a membership.
But because there's so many people in here, we could miss those questions. So if we have missed your question, now is a great time to pop it in there. Actually, Harry has one here. It says, what is that new green color at 23? Eruption green.
Yeah.
So that is eruption
That's the one
green.
that we've been talking
On the
about.
Bronco Sport. Yeah.
All right. So I have one that would be pretty good for other people. All I have from the dealer is order code 0915 on one, priority code. The other 10. The other one is priority code 10 in order V-580. Are these just internal dealership codes, or do they have meaning? I do have verification from Ford that orders were placed.
I don't think those are the actual order numbers because there's no hyphen in the order numbers. It's all digits.
0915 could be an order number.
The first one has to be a letter.
Oh, that's good.
So it could be an O, though.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ford lets you do an O.
Yeah.
So I don't think those are order numbers.
Yeah. But
It even says order code on one. He says order V.
580.
Now, if it doesn't have the hyphen, I
then
could see
that
that
one
being.
would be, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell.
My small town dealer indicated yesterday that one customer with an EcoBoost build had already received build notification. Yep.
Yep.
There are
Yep, we're
people
seeing
being
them.
built.
Yep. We're seeing them. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people thought, we've had some people that said, what's going on with my order? And I said, well, I understand that it's been a couple months for you, but all the orders for the entire year were received in 5 days. So, at this point, it's going to be still a while because, like I said, they've only, scheduled for about a month and a half of production. Or actually, I guess we're 2 months production now. They're working on the second month of production right now. And remember, there's a 12 months of production. So there's still another 10 months to be scheduled out. I mean, we had people, remember this summer, that said, oh, I guess mine's getting pushed to 23. And I'm like, there's still 3 months of production left. You still can get scheduled. And so just keep that in mind. There's still all those orders are going to get in there, and each dealership gets allocation on a monthly basis. They schedule on a monthly basis as well. It's very unusual, actually. A lot of times each week they'll say, hey, they're scheduling for these 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And sometimes 3 weeks. Last week and this week, where they're scheduled for several days, that's because at the launch, that's what they'll do. But when they start going, it'll be for 1 or 2 weeks in advance. Usually it's a full month and a half in advance, usually. Sometimes 2 months in advance.
Yep.
So, will the Ford Pass still work on an XL? Yes, it will. So great. Richard Peters, another member, asked that. Says, will the Ford Pass still work on an XL? Yes, and an XLT. So even with the with remote start and everything, you can remote start it and all that kind of stuff. So,
Is there a common program dealership used to look up orders and what previewing? My dealer has no idea. It's where they place the orders. So if they place the order, that's where they go to see what's previewing.
Yes. And WebDo. WBDO. So where they order the vehicle is where you can go in there. And also there's on WebDo dashboard, there's a lot of stuff on the right side, useful links. You'll look in there. There's actually one of the links in there, and I don't do it this way, but I know that our person that does our ordering, this is how she does it. She actually goes into the reports. Each day it'll show previewing, AM preview report and it'll actually pull which orders are previewing for that at that day. So we
Yeah.
get that on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings.
Yep.
And then Thursday afternoon they schedule. So a lot of times she'll come and she'll come up to me and say, "Hey, these vehicles, here's what's previewing." I said, "Actually, they already scheduled." And she goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, really?" I says, "Yeah, just a little bit ago. I just looked." And so it's just the report comes out in the morning, and then they schedule on Thursday afternoons. And so, but if they go into the WebDose system and they go to that particular model, like I can actually go in here, and if I'm looking at all of them, one of the columns, there's an SVS column. Click on that, and it'll actually show you. You notice there's no NSPs now.
Oh, wow. They're all
So
gone.
earlier today, that column, there's a bunch of NSPs we talked about not
Yeah.
scheduling for production, as we learned from
Yep.
Deke. Thank you, Deke, very much. But typically there'll be a P. P means
Yeah.
preview. S means scheduled. So on Thursday, we'll see S's.
Yep.
And then anything manually allocated, though, it could be any day.
Yeah.
So I've actually seen on a Monday, see some lightnings have scheduled.
Yep.
But earlier today, there was a bunch of NSPs, and now they're all blank. Probably somebody had mentioned Maverick Truck Club said a bunch of orders were pushed back. Probably it is they pushed those back, and now that we're going to see, hopefully, we'll
Yeah.
see some schedule. We have 25
Hopefully.
that need to get allocation, so we need to get
Yeah.
some of those. We need to get some of those 10, 11, 12, 13
Yeah.
priority codes scheduled out. So.
All right. At Law McArthur from David Card. Me and my father are walking away from our Mavericks. We decided to get something else now and ride the market wave now. We both got 23 Honda Civic Touring for me and originally for him.
Congrats.
Yes, congrats.
All right, enjoy it.
Have you ever seen a first edition in carbonized gray?
First edition, yeah, yeah.
It's-
At
yeah.
the event, right?
Yeah, that
We
one
had
was.
all the colors
Yeah.
at the event.
Yep. Hybrid scheduled order that was canceled by Ford and rescheduled as 23. My 23 order is now scheduled for January. Awesome.
Yeah, a lot of the canceled ones got scheduled last week for January build dates. Some people asked, okay, now that the canceled orders are scheduled for January, are they going to push back the December ones? No, they're not. I mean, they had to plan production, and they didn't think they're going to have to cancel those ones, and that was a last minute thing. But they
Yeah.
had to still they're scheduling out months in advance. So because of that, they had to have some orders scheduled to continue production.
Yeah.
So there will be people that had an unscheduled order that's going to get produced before the ones that got canceled. That's just a part of
Yeah.
it. So
My dealer refuses to verify the private offer for the transition. Who can I complain to at Ford? Someone said Mike Levine. Would you say that?
I'm not going to say anything.
Customer
I don't want
service.
him to hate me.
Customer service.
No, you can tag him.
Yeah.
I've actually seen times where I mentioned my video about something and to tag him on Twitter, and then I noticed that he shut off his messages.
Had a 22 hybrid.
But I mean, sometimes, but really with that offer, what'll happen is you'll just want to make sure you fight for it when the vehicle comes in if that private offer doesn't happen. Because if the dealership doesn't check for it and try to get that resolved, which actually reminds me, I need to contact our connection on ours. But we have 29 that we're still waiting to get in the system as well. And so to get matched up. And like somebody said earlier, it was just a matter of the zip code was the wrong zip code. Because you got to remember that as dealerships, we're entering these manually.
Yes.
There is human error that can go into that. We're inputting that information and those names and addresses. We had some, and remember also there's someone else that does the COVP and enters those.
Yes.
And we had one that was they just flipped the last name with first name. They had two first names. They flipped it, and that's why it didn't match up. So. It's sometimes human error, and as long as they can see that's the approved COVP order, again, has to be an approved order. So there are some people that, no matter how much you fight, they may not be able to get it.
Yeah.
But if your dealership's just very stubborn and they're not willing to contact them, as we showed with that person earlier that said it was very simple. The salesperson got with the GM, and the GM contacted the inventory specialist, and they got it fixed, and the certificate was in there within a day.
Yeah.
I wish our inventory specialist responded to me that fast, but
Yep.
yeah. Luckily, I have somebody on the Maverick that will help me. and so that's the route I'm going. But yeah, so
Is the spray and bed liner still under capacity?
yes, let's look at this week's. I believe it was.
I'll say if you comment with a question, sometimes our answers are a little bit longer, and so it might take us a minute to get to your question.
Let's see here. Okay, so that number earlier on party codes, there's 1,391 orders in party 10, party 99. Ooh. I didn't get that from any report from Ford.
Nope. Nope.
Spray and bed liner. Where's that? Right here. Oh yeah, it's well within, way within. So the capacity is about 39%, and they have less than 20% of their orders with that on there. So you could probably add it and still be okay. It would probably take longer to schedule than without it.
Yeah.
Because that 39% is still only 4/10. So.
Lydia, I personally would go with blue, only because blue is my favorite color, and that's a personal choice. I personally have Area 51 Maverick, so again, it's personal choice on what you're gonna want, but I prefer blue.
Let's go by that 360 still below constraints. Yes. See, the capacity on that one's better than it was last year. It's 60% this year, and 51% of the orders have it on there.
Yeah.
So it's below. So I don't think that's too bad. They said they were going to be sending out. They told me that they were going to be sending out an email about the orders and what was on them, and that they're within more capacity than what they thought, and that they were going to update that. But I haven't gotten anything yet.
All right.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
That's your bedtime.
Mine?
To the chat, modding an old car is fun. Trust me. Cool. All right.
Bedtime? My kid's bedtime is 8. Lebo gets to put them
My
to sleep.
Ridgeline Black Edition was $50K. It was nice. Although now interest rates up 2 points would have been about the same price. All right.
The people walking away from Mavericks, what happens to them? Do they go to the dealership? Is there a line where folks can get in for another chance at 23?
Okay, so no. So depends on where that order is in the process.
Yes.
So if it has not been scheduled yet, and again, and the dealership cancels the order. So when somebody comes in and says, I'm not going to take it, go ahead and cancel my order, it's up to the dealership to actually cancel it. So the dealership doesn't cancel it, then it gets scheduled, and when it comes in, then they can sell it to whoever. And if you cancel it after it gets scheduled, though, the dealership can't cancel at that point. It's been scheduled. So then it comes in and becomes available for somebody else to purchase.
Yes.
So that's why it's always good if you're working with the dealership, say, hey, if one comes in that somebody doesn't take, could you give me a call, and what would you price that out to me if you did?
Yes.
We do have some that have been available. So we had a lot of people, because those scheduled dates kept moving back. We had people that were scheduled for last June. It was September before they got scheduled, and then by the time it came in, it was like November or October. So there for a while, we had a lot of vehicles coming in that people didn't take, because that was 6 months process after it was scheduled. And so, Ford needs, on those, that's why Ford changed their policy on the COVP of people that took it, and that percentage is because there was a lot of situations where it was taking 6-9 months, a year for them to come in finally once they even got scheduled. So with that in mind, they can't penalize dealerships or customers for not taking it when they wait that long.
Yep.
So, I mean, it even happened to me. Our Expedition, it was one of the first ones built. It sat for 2 months waiting on a chip hold, and then in that time, other vehicles got built with the chips in them and got shipped to us, and then ours then sat for 2 more months, waiting on to put on a train. And we had an Expedition come in a secondary color that we thought we liked, same equipment as ours. And you know how I wanted to purchase that one so badly. The only reason I didn't is because mine had price protection.
Yes.
And so it was going to cost $2,000 to go to the one that came in. I'm like, I'll just wait for mine. And so that was the option. And so even though the dealership was going to let me do D-plan on it, I waited for mine.
Yeah.
But that can happen. So So anyway,
Yeah. My converted order is still priority 99. My dealer's stubborn and won't listen about changing it. Ford customer service says they can't help. It seems like I'm stuck.
the complaint line. Why won't they listen? Ask for a manager. Go back and ask for the sales manager and say, can you look at my order? Because it was a canceled order that Ford converted over for me. It's a priority 99. And you can see at 99, you know it won't get scheduled. I need that put into priority 10.
And I don't suggest pestering dealerships, but if you're not getting anywhere, pester them.
Yeah, it's not going to get scheduled. It's not going to get looked at for scheduling until it has a priority 10 to 19.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you need not only that, but not only do they need to get it down to 10, but then they need to call their inventory specialist and have them let them know, hey, we finally updated this order from a 99 to 10. Can you give it a priority 2? Because it deserves a priority 2.
Yep.
And then if you don't get anywhere, you need to go in the dealership, and if you've been only working with a salesperson and he's been going to the desk or something, and they say, oh no, it can't be changed, they probably are getting so many people asking about orders that they're just not even listening to you. So I would go and say, I want to talk to the manager. And then if they can't get you a manager, you go to the front desk and you tell them, I want to talk to your sales manager. And if you are loud enough, the sales manager will come out. And I don't, and I hope you don't have to get to that point, but at some point, the manager needs to come out, and then you need to talk to the manager. So, yeah.
Is my Ford private offer tied to the original dealer I had ordered my Maverick with, or can it be used on the 23 or I ordered with you?
It is your offer, so it belongs to you on whatever you order. So
it's tied to your name.
It's tied to your name. So I can look up anybody's private offer, and I say that hesitantly because I don't want 500 people emailing me and saying, can you look up and see if I have a private offer? Talk to your dealership. I talked to a lot of people that said, hey, I hate to pester my dealership, but they'll pester me. So they'll email me because they know that I'll look it up. They know that I'll do it because I'm just that person. But it might take me longer because I have a lot of people that do the same thing. And I don't mind helping people out, but try your dealer first before you reach out to me on that. When getting it changed, I do have a person that can help me change those private offers, but I don't want to burn that bridge. If I give them, hey, here's 100 people that want theirs changed, can you do it? They're going to be like, because that person's, it's not really their job. They'll do 1 or 2 for me, a week, but if I give them a whole list, they're going to give it to the person that's their job to do it. So, so.
Looking to get a 24 Ranger. Is there going to be delays where I should let the dealer know now or wait until it's actually released?
We don't know anything until...
we won't know anything about 24, just like Maverick. Until
they actually give us information. I mean, we don't know anything. We don't know timeline or anything, but hopefully it's coming up soon. I think they mentioned summer deliveries, so that means scheduling and ordering ought to be in the spring. So hopefully January, February, we'll get some information. So
Yep. Have you heard anything about Ford trying to increase hybrid engine production to help get the Mavericks built?
Nope. I did hear, and I'm not sure where he got the information, but I do trust Johnny on Johnny's character and reviews, and he mentioned last night that he heard from someone, and it could be that some of these people have people in the plants that they actually can talk to. There is someone that's reached out to me that works at one of the plants. I won't say which one because I don't want to get him in trouble. And so sometimes they can get some information. So maybe he knows somebody in the plant in Mexico, but he heard that they're going to produce less Bronco Sports and more Mavericks this year. So hopefully they'll shift that because, I mean, you know, there's not as many people putting in orders for Bronco Sports as there are Mavericks. So hopefully they. How about looking up my order? I looked it up earlier. Says, how about look up my order and ask for help? I've actually reached out to about everybody I can think of. So there's maybe 1 or 2 people I can think of that maybe I can try to on social media tag them and see. I don't do that often because again, that's not a bridge I want to burn. But this is a situation where we need some favors, so I'll do that. I'll tag them and see if I can get some help. Private message them if it's turned on.
Yeah. Lydia says, I'm confused. I didn't get a private offer with canceled, just told I would get a rebate back. How is that clear info? Not at all 25 increase. I was scheduled for December 19th. You have a private offer. It may not, what was it?
So what, now where's that one? What was that again? Read that again.
Why?
It is-
I'm confused. I didn't get a private offer with my canceled order. Just told I would get a rebate back. How is that clear info? I was scheduled for December 19th.
No, not all 25 increase. Yeah, I think your dealership's misunderstanding. So if I get a private offer with canceled order, just told. If your order was one that was scheduled for 22 and it was canceled and put in as a 23 order and then scheduled again, then you'll get a private offer. As well as if you had a rolled over COVP certified order, approved order, then you'll also get a private offer. So you need to see if your private offer showing for you. So they need to do a certificate inquiry and Smart Vincent for you.
Yeah.
So
David Card, if your father canceled his Maverick, but it's in the shipping process, the dealer will take it and they will sell it.
yep.
Yep.
If you don't want it.
If he canceled, but it was too late to cancel because it was already in the build process and shipping process, then they take it on. They make sure that you don't want it, and then they sell it.
If you already told them you don't want it, they may not reach back out to you now.
Yeah.
So, yep. And like I said, Ford is selling to the dealership, not to the customer. It is in your name, so private offers and all that can be, obtained and all that. But in all reality, if you look on the actual window sticker, it'll say who it's sold to at the bottom. It'll say sold to, and it'll be sold to the dealership. Your name's not in there.
Yeah.
You actually haven't purchased it yet.
Let's see. Lydia had another one. I think my dealer's inept. They said I couldn't change color. I've not signed cancel order revised yet.
Yeah, you can change color.
Yeah, you can change color.
Yep, just tell them I want to change it.
But
hey, why don't you try
if
it?
you're, just try it.
I've had so many
try
people that say my dealer said I can't do this, and then I'll tell them like, well, just tell them to go in there and say, hey, can you try it? And then they're like, okay, and they're like, oh, well, I guess I can. Like, thank you, thanks for letting me know. I have somebody that said that theirs, they said, is not that has a compatibility error.
Yeah.
And they said their dealership doesn't know why, and I said, well, send me your order, and I can probably look at it and tell you why there's two packages that are on that. I probably got a feeling it's the FX4 and black appearance package because they're not compatible. But yet, when we ordered them, they let us order them together because that system was not working right. So that's probably what the situation is. But things like that I can fix. Somebody else said my dealer can't add that. The bed rail system, and I said, well, in Webdo it's called the cleat tie down kit C.
Yes.
So if you want it, then you have to pick C. If you don't want it, pick B. And sometimes it's just easy as telling them that. So
David Card said my father's Maverick is going to go up in price. Stupid markups. So technically that order is theirs.
okay. So and if you're not taking it because of that, so my father Maverick is going to go up in price. Okay.
If he
so
canceled.
the question is if he has a 23 coming in or a 22, because 23's price did go up. But if you had a 22 order, you should have a private offer to help lower that price down.
His father's the one that canceled.
So he's wanting it. Maybe.
Possibly.
Maybe if I'm reading this right, it sounds like maybe you're wanting to buy it, but because you're the other option is to see if your father will buy it and then sell it to you and retitle it to you.
Or have you as co-signer.
Yes, or have you as a co-signer.
Or can't he be the co-signer? His name just has to be on the deal.
The father's probably needs to be first.
Okay. Either way.
Especially for price protection.
Yeah.
His name has to be on it for price protection. Otherwise, the price he would have to pay the price increase if it's a 22 that's coming in.
Yes. So if you're trying to buy it, David, instead of your dad, I would have your dad buy it or be the first name and you co-sign.
So then if the dealership's smart, is honest, and they'll they'll honor the price protection as well as the MSRP price, then you're going to be cheaper. Otherwise, if the dealership's like us, where we've actually done this, we've had a family member want to buy the vehicle instead of the person that ordered it. That can happen, but we can't honor the price protection.
He just bought a car. I don't want it. It's just for the ones who want it. His was a 22 rollover and had a private offer. Right. So that private offer can't be transferred between people.
Yeah.
It's already built. So yeah,
He's just saying. I think he's just saying it's a shame because other people have to pay more.
Yes.
That's true.
So.
But they will have to pay more. But you have people out there that are still waiting to get theirs ordered. And how much is saving money on fuel? How much money are they going to save versus waiting 6-9 months for it to come in? That maybe if it's, a couple, like for ours are $7,500 over MSRP for one that's not taken. Does that seem fair or not? But I mean, you have people that are still waiting for theirs to come in,
or to even order.
They
don't even have an order.
Yeah, there's some people couldn't get ordered, so they're jumping the line, and so they're able to get it quicker. We see this on the people with Lightning too. That hey, they reserved, but they still can't even order yet because they're so far down on the line. Would they pay an extra $5,000 or whatever to get a Lightning now? Some people would.
Yeah.
So it's the supply and demand world on that, but yeah.
Lydia, why don't you email me at the FordVideoGuy email, and I'll send you some documents that we have for the private offer. Another good place would be Ford Customer Service. They have been known to give the private offer certificate number.
Yeah, if you have a private offer, they can look up and see if you have it.
Yes.
David said his is a 23 EcoBoost 4K FX4 rear sliding windows, bedliner.
Cactus gray.
So EcoBoost, I believe we're overpriced on our EcoBoosts. Me personally, and I mean that's just me. We'll still sell them at right now. We have our EcoBoost at $5,000 over. It seems like ours lasts a little bit longer at $5,000 over. Once we lower them down, I think we had some that we weren't selling. We lowered them down to $4,000, and I think somebody we didn't sell it at $4,000. I think somebody offered us an offer at like $2,500, and we took it.
Yeah.
And so because we do want to sell those within the first 15 days.
Yes.
And so because that helps us with allocations and everything. Plus, when the 20th is coming up, if we have one that's available and we can get paperwork done by the 20th, then that helps us with the snapshot for how many allocations we're going to have for the next month. So if we have 0 Mavericks on our lot, everything we've sold that come in is sold, then that helps us on the 20th for allocations for the next month. The more vehicles we sell, the better off.
We would probably be between Cactus Gray or Area 51 on a Bronco. We'd probably be more inclined to say Area 51. He has Area 51 Bronco and I have an Area 51 Maverick. So.
All right. I don't know if you realize it, but it's 9:30. We've been on here for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So appreciate everybody's questions. If you have any other questions, don't forget, we still have 300 people in here too. Don't forget to drop those down. FordVideoGuy@gmail.
Yes.
Sarah can answer any questions you have, or if she's not sure on the answer, she'll ask me. As you can tell from tonight, she knows quite a few of the answers for you, and she can help you out.
If I don't, it's a learning opportunity for me.
Yep, she likes to be able to use those. David said mine was Black Appearance Package 360.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so. Go G Fuel. Yes, I did have a G Fuel.
Jeff, we know it's 7:30 there.
It's actually my last one. Oh, I forgot to tell Jeremy to bring me some. I'll get some tomorrow when we're on base.
There you go.
Yeah.
First time on base, you get to go get your own G Fuel.
I'll get my own G Fuel. Yeah, I have it at Fort Riley. So, see, that'd be a reason to go. No, be a reason to go visit Billy. All right.
Yeah, he's not a big coffee drinker.
G Fuel, why? I like G Fuel versus a Monster, so I do like these from time to time. And yes, G Fuel, I drink these. What I like about these, my son actually, who is a gamer, he got me started on these because G Fuel's kind of promotes. They do a lot of advertising for gamers. A lot of G Fuel sponsors a lot of gamers.
Yeah.
But what I like about these is that it doesn't give you the jitters like a Monster will or any of those. They use natural flavors in theirs, and it's still 0 calories.
See, and if you rewind all the way back to the beginning, I'm drinking Red Bull, and prefer that because it tastes more like a soda and less syrupy than the others.
But they use natural flavoring for their flavors, so that's what I like. So
Yes.
look, increases energy,
Rhino.
focus, endurance, and reaction.
Well, Specsavere, he's not a Maverick owner. He's a Bronco and Lightning owner.
All right. Anyway, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Hope you guys had an enjoyable time tonight. And again, thank you very much for being
know.
members,
Yes.
subscribed. Don't forget, do all that good stuff. Don't forget to smash the like button. I appreciate it. It does help out the video because even after this live is over, people can still watch the video. And if you smash that like button, then it helps people find that video and it helps more people see it. So we really appreciate it if you can do that.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Stay positive. Be nice to each other and be nice to yourself. We'll see you next week.